Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hi, Konnichiwa, Konbanwa, and welcome to Wrestle-In's Wrestle Kingdom 18 preview. We're going all out. You've got me here, CiaranRH. You've got Trent at One Up Culture on Twitter, and we are here to talk all about Wrestle Kingdom 18. We're going to have insight from myself and Trent. We're going to be splicing in interviews from guys on the card. This is going to be a fun one. It's going to be big. It's going to be heavy. We're going balls to the wall for Wrestle Kingdom 18.
My balls are to the left side of the wall. My balls are to the right side of the wall. I am sufficiently ready, spread-eagled as you were, for Wrestle Kingdom 18.
It's like that's the true lyrics. It's not from the window to the wall. It's from one wall to the other one.
I'm not luxurious enough. I don't have windows in my room. I have to deal with what I have. To the wall, to the wall.
The journey to Wrestle Kingdom 18 has been a curious one. The first half of New Japan this year, everyone loved. The second half, more up for debate. Was Sonada's title reign any good? Was it not? Is this going to be a change in the guard? Is the Tetsuya Naito roll call going to close out Wrestle Kingdom and then we shift to the next generation of New Japan? President Tanahashi now competing at Wrestle Kingdom. It's going to be an interesting one. We're going to go top to bottom. You've got to kick off with the obvious one, though. There's the most important match on the Wrestle Kingdom card every damn year. Of course, we're talking about the NJPW Rambo, man.
This is why you sign up to New Japan World. Every year, January 4th, if you're not already subscribed, then you should already be subscribed. But if you are signing up for Wrestle Kingdom, this is what you're here for. The Rambo, the reintroduction of the King of Pro Wrestling title. We need a new champion at the end of every year. They say goodbye. It's arguably the most unpredictable match on the card because you don't know what they're going to do with it in the best of times. And this year, like especially, I think they've kind of transitioned a little bit from being pure comedy. They're getting a little bit more serious. Some of the match stipulations have been like the triad match.
Yes.
You know, there's no laughing matter when Hanare is involved in that kind of thing. But, you know, they still mess around a bit with the whiskey on, you know, up with the ladder and stuff. So I don't know what they're going to do this year. I don't know what the vibes are. Obviously, even management's changed a little bit. Who knows what President Tanahashi sees in this belt? Maybe he needs to book himself in the future to win it and have a presidential match.
This is
Battle on Air Force One.
Ironic covering up a Union Jack flag here, but I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of Tanahashi.
Yes.
One promotion under the S. But yeah, it's I'd say measure your expectations when it comes to the Rambo. There's not always, oh, this person's entering. It's not Royal Rumble when you get some very big names appearing, some surprises, some legends, some debuts. There doesn't tend to be any of that. It's very much anyone who's in the country, I suppose, will be on the card. You can expect the guys that kind of should be on the card. You could argue Hanare, he'll be on the card. Your Master Wattos, all those type of guys that just aren't on the card. The dads will make an appearance. We love them. Maybe we'll be lucky. Maybe they'll be, you know, they have in years past had a surprise or two. It's just not always a definitive. I don't think there was any surprises necessarily at Wrestle Kingdom 17 in 2023 that springs to mind, and I was there. So if there was, then that's very bad on me. But yeah, no, measure expectations. The final four of this, if you haven't seen Rambo before, it's a battle royal. It's a Royal Rumble entrance come however many seconds. But instead of it being last man standing wins, it's a last four men standing win, and they will progress to New Year's Dash the next night, and they will battle in a four-way match for the KOPW Championship. We don't know the entrance. You don't know the entrance until the day. There's not much to preview. It's a bit of fun. It kind of gets you in the Wrestle Kingdom spirit. It is a tradition at this point. But the main card kicks off in earnest, and I kind of thought this match might get a better spot on the card, I have to say. I know it's historical that the IWGP Junior Tag Team Championship seemed to open up the card, but given what's happened in the build to this match and everything, I really thought that this was just going to be higher up on the card for some reason.
This feels like a classic case of New Japan looking at the card they've got and thinking, what match really sets the tone for Wrestle Kingdom? Because I know we just talked about the Rambo, but that's pre-show. That doesn't really count in the grand scheme of things. And the junior heavyweights are almost burdened by their ability to really kick off Wrestle Kingdom the right way. And the tradition of having the junior heavyweight tag match come on first, it sort of gives you that injection of excitement and anticipation. And yeah, look, this match has a bit more build to it than a lot of others. It's got a bit more history to it, but I can understand because it's arguably the opening match on the card is one of the most important matches on a show. If you're not going to headline, there's a lot of responsibility being put on you to start the show off right with an opener. So, yeah, they're putting a certain measure of faith and trust in these four to be able to set the scene for Wrestle Kingdom 18. And given what's been going on with these four, especially with TJP lately, I think, they're going to really look to set out and make this match feel more important than just the start of things.
Yeah, like I could speak about this match for a very long time. I think it's probably the match that's got the most story going into it. Like without trialing for years and years, obviously Sanada Naito, you can go back a better part of a decade. Just like recent history, like actually doing stuff and building a story. They've done so much together going back till June when Drilla Maloney, attacked Akira and TJP, left United Empire, joined the Bullet Club. This is a match I'm really excited for. I think there's so much detail and nuance to this. Some things being teased with THP. It's a lot more than simply winners of Super Junior Tag League versus the champions. There's so much more depth to this. It is a proper feud. It's a proper rivalry. I'm a big fan of it. So I'm such a fan of it. Look, I could talk about it forever, but why not? Why don't we hear from people that are actually part of the show? Why don't we hear from Clark Connors? And hopefully, because this hasn't, I've not spoken to this other person yet, but it should be happening after I record the preview. So fingers crossed this happens. If it doesn't, you've been warned. But definitely, here's coming Clark Connors, and hopefully here's coming Francesco Akira. We're going to hear from both champions and challengers heading into this Tokyo Dome Tag Team Championship match. Joining me now for the Wrestle Kingdom 18 preview is one half of the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, member of War Dogs, alongside Drilla Maloney, heading into Wrestle Kingdom 18 as the champions, Clark Connors himself. Clark, thank you for joining me. Looking very festive.
Yeah, man, getting the Christmas spirit, baby. I'm feeling real good. Been up drinking all night. It's still nighttime over here, or it's the next night now after we have a big celebration after finally ridding the world of Catch 2-2, baby. Life's good.
I mean, yeah, you have the first ever coffin match in New Japan Pro Wrestling history, but like, who is having a coffin match like less than 2 weeks before Wrestle Kingdom the greatest idea in the world? Like, I'm not talking about having the match again, a repeat. I love this story you guys are building, but for yourself, for your sanity, for your bodies, dude,
it wasn't my idea. We, the TJ brought it upon himself, and Akira brought it upon themselves. What it really was the first night of the Road 2 shows. Dan and I thought it'd be funny, and it was very funny.
It was.
Bring out a casket, bring out a coffin, and it's basically just representing everything we've talked about. Catch 2-2, we've been killing them every time we wrestled them. Now we're 3-0 against them. We beat them up every time we get in the ring. I don't know why they even want to step in the ring with us anymore. And it was just supposed to be like more of a gesture of sorts. And I guess TJP took it to heart. And here's the thing. Maybe he wanted a new home or something, because he's stuck in that bad boy now. I don't know what he's doing anymore. We took him to the back, and we loaded him up on a truck. And that was that. I haven't seen him since, dude. I don't think anyone else has. So I'm very excited to see what happens to his ass. I do not care at all.
I'm hoping now he actually comes out at Wrestle Kingdom still in the coffin, that you guys even wheel him out to the ring and he's still in the coffin as if he's been in there for the past 2 weeks. That would be fantastic. But yeah, at Wrestle Kingdom 18, you head into the Tokyo Dome as the champions alongside Drilla Maloney, defending your titles against Catch 2-2, who won Super Junior Tag League. It's your first time in the Tokyo Dome since you were on the pre-show in 2020. That I was at that show, seeing you guys, the LA Dojo, the Young Lions, kicking ass, especially the next night, a New Year's Dash. But now you're on the main card, and it's more than just a title match. I want to get into that as well. But how are you feeling with Wrestle Kingdom just around the corner, heading into your first main card on Tokyo Dome?
Dude, you couldn't be more excited. We're in the best spot, going in as champions. We got some brand new gear. I can't wait to unveil. We're going to be looking great. We got a great entrance plan. We're going to have the most fun with it, because we're going in. And here's the thing, the whole thing where you just said about TJ in a coffin or whatever, we put him on a truck and we sent him to the morgue. I honestly have no idea. Like, I don't know where he's going. I don't expect him to come out. And we choked Akira out. I don't know if he's going to be medically cleared to even show up. So what we're fully expecting is to show up on Wrestle Kingdom 18, go out there and have a Wrestle Kingdom celebration. We're going to have some beers. We're going to have some money. We're going to have some women. Who knows what it's going to be, but we're going to look good doing it. So I couldn't be more excited to go to Wrestle Kingdom and just have a little bit of a party. So, regarding a match, that's just all gravy on top. If those guys show up and want to get their ass kicked again, good on them. It's always fun for us.
I love this story you guys have, because I've said this before. Like, I've put this out on Twitter, so I'm not like bullshitting here just because we're face to face. But like, it's one of the few matches on the Wrestle Kingdom card that has an actual story behind it. Like, you've got Driller leaving United Empire in the year, you two defeating Catch 22 for the titles. They win the Super Junior Tag League, and you're there to run the party again. And now you throw this coffin match on top, and you're 3-0 against them. It's a story and feud that started back in June versus matches on Wrestle Kingdom that, you know, we're recording this on Saturday, the 23rd of December. Saturday, 23rd of December, and there's still matches that we know are going to be announced for Wrestle Kingdom that haven't been announced yet. Yeah. Whereas versus you guys have had this going on since June. This is a really in-depth fucking story. Does it make your match feel like all the more important and special to you? The fact that it's not just tag league winners versus champions. There's so much depth and nuance to this.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one of those things about wrestling where it's very circumstantial. It ended up being that way, right? That they end up winning Junior Tag League, and they got that shot. It just happened to be something that worked out well for us, because we were going to go to Wrestle Kingdom no matter what, you know, and we were going to win at Wrestle Kingdom no matter what. So we don't care how it gets there. But the fact that it ended up like that, you know, it's kismet, you know, and me and TJ's story goes way back longer than even the whole story with Dan. So it's felt like ever since I've been in New Japan, I've been intertwined with that TJ story, with the old school LA Dojo story. So to get the payoff for me to hopefully have a match with them at Wrestle Kingdom, if they show up, is going to be the cherry on top, if anything. But if not, I'm excited just to walk out there and enjoy it, because, like you said, there's a lot of spectacle at Wrestle Kingdom. That's kind of the beauty of it, and it's kind of the one of the nights of the year that Wrestle Kingdom or New Japan really dives into spectacle. And so for us to actually end up having the story coming into it, I think you're right. It makes it very special, and it's not just a one-off exhibition. Almost not an exhibition, but not just like Okada and Danielson, right? That's just some, you know, that's going to be a cool match, I'm sure, but that's just two guys just getting thrown at each other almost, you know.
Oh yeah, it's come so far. Like, the junior tag match used to just be, we'll throw the Young Bucks, we'll throw Forever Hooligans in there, we'll throw a Dragon in there, and they'll just have a banger of a match and let that be what it is, and it'll just be a one-off. But like I said, the story, the detail going into this one, it's one of the matches I am most excited for, without a doubt. And the junior tag division, I know I'm not alone in saying this, I think it's the best it's definitely the best it's been since I started watching in 2014 in New Japan, and people would say it's the best the junior tag division has ever been. It's so stacked. Like, you look at the lineup, Super Junior Tag League, and how good all the matches were and how good all the guys were in that tournament. Everyone's so fucking good. And then the Wrestle Kingdom match, like we discussed, being so much more than just champions versus challengers. And then you and Driller Maloney, of course, you sit firmly atop that pile. You have done for the second half of 2023. But what are your thoughts on the entire New Japan Junior Tag Division? Because it's felt to me like the most consistent thing in New Japan this year. You've got, for many people, they're saying the first half of New Japan was great, second half of New Japan this year not so much as fans, but one consistent has been how awesome the Junior Tag Division has been from January 4th to December 31st.
I mean, sure. I mean, I don't really keep up with the discourse, you know, what the fans say or anything, but from being in the middle of it, I know for a fact that everything we're doing in that junior division feels special. And maybe that's just because we're at top of it and it's our division, you know, Dan and I, Driller and I, and we're special and we're the best people doing it. And I think, and Dan said in the post-game comments yesterday, I think we're the best. It's only been 6 months, but the best junior team of all time. And we're just going to put our name in there in the hat. And obviously, that's one of those things that you've only held one championship. It's like, that's because we've only never lost the championship type thing. You know, like, it's, you know, you don't need to do it a bunch of times if you're the guys. But as for the rest of the division, I've often said this, man, like, everyone can go. You know, I mean, Kevin and Kushida, that's one of the best. That's one of the coolest innovative tag teams I've ever seen. And we got Luchadors coming in, Teton, and you got Bushi doing their thing. And obviously Catch 22 is a well-oiled unit. You know, I always give them the respect that those guys can just go. And anyone who comes in from other companies, right, like they want to be in this division. You know, anybody who's a lower or there is a lower weight guy, right? A junior style guy. They want to come out here and wrestle with us because they know this is the best junior wrestler in the world going. And what I like about it the most is that it's not the same thing that you see every time. Like you said before, right? Like it was like the type of matches you would see, you knew the match you were getting at Wrestle Kingdom. You were going to get fast paced dives, flips, you know, junior style, but in a tag format, right? That's not how it is anymore. Me and Dan don't do none of that. You know, Dan and I have a style that's completely our own. We wrestle how we want to wrestle. We're bruisers, we're brawlers. We do what we want. Whereas there's guys who can fly. There's guys who work so well together technically, you know. So it's a little bit of everything, and I think that's what makes it so unique. And like you said, it is the best it's ever been. And to hear it from someone like you who actually knows their shit, you know, and is a fan about this stuff, just, you know, take it from the man himself, you know.
I knew if I wore my War Dog shirt, I'd get at least one compliment, whether it be true or not.
I mean, you're I'm
not above sucking up.
Yeah, no, it's good. You're not my dog for real, but you know, you got my respect. I'll tell you that.
I'll take it. That's a lot more than most would get, I'm sure. But yeah, 2023, like we just said, it's been a big year for you. You joined Bullet Club, War Dogs are formed. You have this great run in Best of the Super Juniors. You wrap it up with this wild fucking brawl with Driller Maloney, which lends itself into him joining Bullet Club, and you winning the tag titles. You defend them both in Japan and in the UK at Royal Quest. You go into Super Junior Tag League, you're not successful, but another great run, and then you top it all off with the first ever coffin match in New Japan, ready and primed to head into Tokyo Dome in 2024. How do you feel about your 2023 as a whole, looking back on it? Because this has been, you've always been good, and those who have watching you have known you've been good, but for me, the problem with all the LA Dojo guys was they never gave you anything to sink your teeth into. You could put great matches, but they never gave you the chance to showcase characters, anything like that, to be more than just good wrestlers. And this War Dogs has changed that for you, Alex and Gabe, and you know, Drill. I'm not from the LA Dojo, but the same again.
Yeah, and that's a very interesting way what you said is they never really give us anything to sink our teeth into. Yeah, I think for the biggest thing for me is, yes, this is my best year wrestling so far, because the LA Dojo guys was always a group of guys. Everyone knows that they're trained under Katsuyori Shibata, right? And we're trained technically as the best wrestlers in the world. But the thing is that made us so special was none of us like that shit. None of us are technical wrestlers deep down. You know, we're I mean, I guess the best way to put it is, you know, we're WWE wrestlers. We like to show character. We like to talk. We like to talk shit. We're not humble. You know, we like to go out there and have fun and do what we want. And so a lot of things that you saw from us were very forced upon us, I think, in our early careers with New Japan. And hell, look at Ren Narita, dude.
I wanted to bring up Ren Narita.
He's the perfect example of that. I don't see him very often, but the House of Torture locker room is generally close to the Bullet Club locker room, you know, the War Dog locker room. So I see him and he's got this devilish grin on his face, man. I haven't seen him that happy. I lived with him for years in the dojo, and he was never as happy as he is just doing what he wants. And so I think that's the best thing. Is this is the first time I've at least got to feel like I got to be myself again since I was an indie wrestler, you know. And I've often said this as well. When I was on the indies, like I was, you know, no one really knew me because it was such a short time and it was not like a hot indie area. But after 1 year, I was really, really good. You know, I could have been going anywhere I wanted to, but I picked New Japan, and it put me in a different route. And but you know, everything happens for a reason, and here I am now, and so I'm finally getting to do what I want to do, and you're getting to see finally progression. That's why you see stories actually unfold how they do, you know, and they get to these points because I'm getting to do what the fuck I want to do, you know what I mean? So 2023 has been great, but 2024 is only going to get better.
You're not alone in doing whatever you want to do. You've got Driller Maloney stood there by your side, just as loud, just as hard hitting. But collectively, you guys are just known as Bullet Club War Dogs. And of course, that includes David Finlay, Gabe and Alex as well. Have you guys batted about a team name for just the two of you, for just Clark Connors and Driller Maloney?
No, like, because that's the thing about us is a unit, right? I don't see myself as just a junior and Dan is just a junior. And we are of the opinion that, you know, if we wanted, if like, I know we're the tag team champs right now, so we're gonna keep rolling with that. But God forbid, maybe one day we just decide we just want to vacate him because we just want to vacate him and do other stuff because no one's gonna beat us. But say we want to, right? Then I had no problem just switching it up, and then me, Gabe, and Alex will go do something together, and then Dan does something on his own, or maybe Finley and Dan start teaming up, and then Gabe does something on his own, or whatever the combination is. That's kind of where we're at, you know. And you know, I have heard some people colloquially have called us a couple of names. I do like the cocaine drillers. I've heard that one. That's been around, and I don't know where they got that idea from. I don't know where they get this ideas from. I would never condone that name, but I've heard that around. But yeah, I mean. Yeah, if you have any ideas, please throw them my way.
No, I definitely don't know. I'm not creative enough for that type of stuff. But one of the things I wanted to bring up is your spear. Like, it's so fucking good. I think it's one of the best spears in wrestling at the moment because of the variety of ways you hit it. Like you mentioned Kevin Knight earlier, you've caught him at least twice, probably more, when he goes up for one of his crazy drop kicks and you're on the top rope and you catch him in midair and it looks perfect every time and it looks devastating every time. You'll often, like, you've done it again in the coffin match, you spear through the ropes and catch someone on the apron, and that always hits fucking hard. Got the sound of that person just smashing into the apron. Have you got any spears in particular where you've hit it and you've just thought, fuck yeah, like that was perfect, and I've absolutely that was beautiful?
Every one of them, bro. You know, I come from football, you know, and that's the thing, is there's so many guys who throw a spear and they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know how to tackle someone. I've been tackling people, like, been taught how to form tackle, not the weak way everyone does it now because they don't want to worry about concussions in football. I'm talking old school, nose of the football tackles, American football, not the crap you watch over there, by the way. No, but when I tackle someone, it's to break them in half. And that's how I've done it since I was 8 years old, dude. I've been doing it. So I know how to hit someone. So, and I know when it's a real hit, and I know when it's good. And that's because I hit them good. And yeah, it's something about my offense that I like. Kind of what you bring it back to before. I think too many people do way too much in wrestling. If you watch my matches, I probably hit at least 3 spears a match, but they're all different and they're all good because I can do it from anywhere. And it's different every time. So I think that's something I want other wrestlers to kind of take a note of. If you're a younger wrestler and you're watching this and you're trying to, you know, pick apart someone's brain, there you go. There's your nugget of advice. Usually I'll cost you at a seminar, but for my spear though, it's not one of, it is the best spear in wrestling. It might be the best spear of all time in wrestling. And I have no problem saying that because I know how good it is. And, which is ironic too, because I was talking to someone earlier a couple of days ago, and since I'm a smaller guy, I'm a junior. When I first started out in the Indies, I hit a spear in my first match, and I go to the back, and it was an old school promoter guy, and he's like, "Don't ever hit a spear again." I'm like, why? He goes, "You're not big enough." I was like, "I'm not big enough, dude. I just watched your fat ass go out there and fucking trip over the ropes. You're telling me I can't hit a spear?" Yeah, so. But that's the thing. Don't always listen to everybody and do what you're good at. And I'm the best spear in wrestling. That's it.
So, like I said, you hit the spears in a variety of ways as well, really creative ways. Have you got any ideas that you like? I appreciate if you don't want to share any ideas for how to hit other unique spears that you've just not been able to pull off yet, or you're just waiting for the right moment? Let's say a Tokyo Dome Wrestle Kingdom 18 match.
Yeah, no, it's I don't think about them that much, man. I just do them, you know. It's because that's the beauty of that move, is it's not like creative, you know. It's like if I see a guy and his stomach's open, I can just tackle him. You know what I mean? It's not like super. There's not too much to it. But in terms of what you're saying, yeah, I have lots of times when I'll be in the middle of the night and I'll dream and I'll wake up and go, "Oh, that's how I'm gonna kill TJ this week." And then of that, so. Yeah, there's more to come.
To shift gears quickly, because we're recording this like mere hours after there was some big breaking news in New Japan that Hiroshi Tanahashi is the new president, taking over for Takami Obari. Really great news from a fan perspective. Obviously, we all love Hiroshi Tanahashi, but I'm not sure if the feeling is mutual within the War Dogs. How are we feeling about Hiroshi Tanahashi heading up New Japan?
Well, you know, what's the best way to put it? For me personally, I got no qualms with Hiroshi Tanahashi. I have, because I haven't spoken to him in a long time. You know, he's a heavy. I'm a junior right now, and so we're kind of, if we're on the same card, we're not in the same locker rooms, we're not really in the same matches. And you know, ever since I was a young lion, he loved me. You know, he loved the LA Dojo guys. And Shibata's his boy.
Mm-hmm.
So so I haven't talked to him in a while. But that being said, I know that from Gabe and from Alex, you know, he ain't too happy about them doing what they're doing up there. But also, that being said, I know that at least Alex has a pinfall victory over him recently. So Hiroshi Tanahashi doesn't have as much sway in the ring as he does outside nowadays. So now, I think, though, as a whole, like, just knowing that dude as a person, you know, and not from a War Dogs perspective, but from a New Japan perspective, I think he brings a something to the locker room that we need of from one side to the other, from the management side to the boys. He's going to be that perfect barrier, because that guy's like Jesus. Well, you know what I mean? He walks on water. So I think he can get shit done, and I think he's going to make New Japan a better company just from him being there. But that being said, he's holding on to those 6-man titles with Okada and Ishii. And I saw a post today. I was scrolling through Twitter and said, like, "Oh, we're here to save New Japan, and we'll keep New Japan on our backs, you know, with coming into the next year." It might have been Okada who said it. I was like,
Okada, yeah,
Okada said that, and I think to myself, I was like, dude, like, no matter what, me and Dan will have these titles, but even I can be a double champion. You know, I'm gonna call it and see what the other boys are up to, and let's see whose company we can put on our back, you know, or whose back this company can be put on. You know, that's something I would like to see. You know, if Tanahashi can hold 2 roles as president while he's in a grave.
Well, oh, Jesus, I got ahead of myself there before I realized he said in a grave.
Yeah.
Putting 2 New Japan wrestlers to their resting places there. One thing, like you say about that as well, like when it was Ishimori, Gabe, and Alex were teaming up in the G1, I was like, that's a triple. That I want to see them 3 challenge for the 6-man tag titles, man. They were a great team, and I know Ishimori's kind of one of those guys that's not too bad from Bullet Club as far as you're concerned. You know, I've heard in other interviews.
I like Ishimori. I dig him.
How's a torture as a whole? Like, you know, you speak to different members of Bullet Club. Are they Bullet Club? Are they not Bullet Club? You know, Ren Narita's just joined them, and you've got that LA Dojo connection with him, like you were speaking about. You guys seem to like Dick Togo at the very least, but they did beat you in the Super Junior Tag League. House of Torture as a whole, is it a thumbs up or thumbs down from you?
Me personally, thumbs up. Now, I don't know what their status is Bullet Club wise. There's only one person to ask about that, and that's David Finley. He's the leader of the Bullet Club, and more specifically, he's the leader of the Bullet Club War Dogs. So when it comes to Bullet Club, all Bullet Club matters, run that by him. And I generally just let him kind of do his thing. But in my personal opinion, yeah, dude, I rate the House of Torture group. I think they're Dick To Go is dope. You know, he's jacked and he's been doing it for years. That guy's a pro wrestler. And this iteration of Narita is great. You know, he's getting to finally, I guess, be his true self. And it's 2023. It's almost 2024. That's what the whole world is about, right? Like letting your true colors fly and like letting your, like fly, be yourself, all that crap. And so I like it, man. Good for him. Like he's just let himself be free, express himself. So that's what he wants to be, then should do it. That's what House of Torture brings out in people.
Would you have let Ren Narita into the War Dogs if he came knocking?
Not my decision, brother.
No,
Dude Finley runs the show. You know, that's all I care about. And like I said, personally, I always like Ren Narita, bro. Like I always liked him because I knew he's a freak. So, and anybody who had to deal with Shibata for that long, you're good in my book.
One final question for you, Clark, to bring this all back to Wrestle Kingdom 18. You said at the top that we can expect some new entrance gear from you guys at Wrestle Kingdom. Can you give us a tease of what else to expect, whether it's the match, whether it's going to be a special entrance, this special gear you've got planned? Just one final tease ahead of Wrestle Kingdom 18 and your big title match.
just be ready for, like I said before, Wrestle Kingdom's about spectacle, and no one brings a spectacle like the War Dogs. So just keep your eyes out for some new ice. That's all I'm saying. We got some things coming together right now. So just some new ice.
Damn, man. Well, I was already excited for that match. I'm even more excited now. January 4th, NJPWworld.com, Wrestle Kingdom 18, Clark Connors, Drilla Maloney defending IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships against Catch 22. Make sure you check it out. Clark, thank you so much for joining me for this Wrestle Kingdom 18 preview. I know you're a busy guy. I know you've got lots of beers to drink and lots of Japanese public to terrorize. That's the word.
Yeah, that's the word.
This is where I'd put a trophy. If I had one! Sorry, lost the happy, but the happy's back.
So that was the champions and challengers, Francesco Akira, hopefully, and Clark Connors, definitely talking about their match. It's one we're very excited for. I'm pumped for this match, and hopefully after hearing from them too, you guys are excited for that match as well. But the show continues, Wrestle Kingdom 18, and again, another match. I'm surprised at the placement on this card. The president of New Japan Tanahashi, the president of New Japan Wrestling.
Let's change the name of NJPW to this. I like that, New Japan of Tanahashi. That's the future right there.
The NJPW World Tanahashi Vision Championship. If he wins, there you go. We've got the rename, and it works because it's like his vision for New Japan Pro Wrestling. But the second bout on the main card of Wrestle Kingdom 18, Zack Sabre Jr. defending his NJPW World TV Championship for about the 100th time versus Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Can we just sit back for a second and appreciate what Zack Sabre Jr. has done? Because I know when this championship was announced, well, I mean, in 2022, I can't even say last year necessarily. When this championship was first announced, everyone was kind of like, okay, sure, let's see what they're doing with this. There wasn't a lot of hype. There wasn't a lot of anticipation for it. Zack's gone and made this belt feel valuable and feel important. And he's like, if you take Will Ospreay out of the picture, and it's kind of like a cheat code when talking about Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr. has had one of the most important years for New Japan in what he's done, in how he's wrestled. He's just been an absolutely tremendous talent, really hit his stride. And I'm glad he's getting this kind of opportunity at Wrestle Kingdom, even if it is second match on the card. He is wrestling a bona fide ace, a legend, the president. And if nothing else, I can't wait to see his promos and speeches, especially if he makes the president tap out. That's a literal gold mine right there.
We've been robbed of Zack Sabre Jr. backstage promos in the build-up to this match. If Tanahashi had been announced as president a month before, and we had a month of Zack Sabre Jr. backstage saying he has to deal with the fucking politics back in Britain that he's trying to sort out, and now he's got to deal with Tanahashi in Japan, it would have been gold dust, man. The man would have been having the time of his life. But look, we know exactly what to expect from this match. These two aren't they're very used to each other. This isn't a first time meeting. They've had plenty of matches. They never
11 singles matches.
Jesus, they never disappoint. Zack Sabre Jr. should come out of this one with the title. You'd have to assume. But Tanahashi might just be like, bro, I'm the president. What are you gonna do, bro?
Tanahashi can come in going, this isn't going to work for me, brother, and pull out the air guitar, inspired by a certain other
finger poke of doom to Zack Sabre Jr.
I mean, that would be a hell of a way to end his TV championship reign, wouldn't it?
But no, this will be great. I'm surprised, just given these two men, the title that's on the line, what Zack Sabre Jr.'s done this year. It is only the second match on the card, but I suppose it speaks to the volume of the New Japan's card here, Wrestle Kingdom 18, as we progress to match number 3. Yota Tsuji and Yu Uemura, a very late contender addition to the card, being added less than 2 weeks before the match, the show is going to take place. Yota Tsuji saying, if you want a match with me, you need to beat me first, Yu Uemura. Come on, bruv, step up. And Yu Uemura meeting the challenge on the final show of 2023, getting that pin over Yota Tsuji, and the match made official. Lots of talk of why aren't any of the new guys on the card, and they are all there now, just very, very late.
Yeah, this was definitely a match that felt like they heard the cries of the fan base, at least the Western fan base. I can't speak for the Japanese fans, but you look at the amount of young talent New Japan have really been pushing in 2023, and this is the kind of match we wanted to see. Two of the young guns really coming in, have a chance to prove themselves, establish themselves. Yota Tsuji has been the revelation of 2023. I'm glad he's getting I don't want to say a high-profile match because, this is that's not that kind of
I
role
don't
for
know.
him.
I'd argue it's a singles match in the Tokyo Dome. Like, there's not meant they don't throw this shit around for fun. Like, it's
They
the only
don't.
it's I mean, you've got Danielson Okada as well, but like that's a different level of its own. Like, this is one of only 2 matches on the card that doesn't have a title on the line. Like, it's the only singles match other than Okada Danielson that
It's pride
doesn't have
on
a
the
title on the
line, my
line.
friend.
Yeah, I think it's a very big deal, and I think as well this fact that this is Yu Uemura's first singles match since coming back from excursion. His first singles match will be in the Tokyo Dome. It's a very short list of people that can meet that same accolade as what Yu Uemura is going to get on January 4th.
They do kind of like to pull that, though, don't they? Jay White, Hiromu Takahashi, that's kind of the go-to. It's like, you're back, get in there, see what you got. And it is interesting, this one being against a fellow sort of young up-and-comer, because typically that is, you get the young person coming in challenging the experienced wrestler. And, you know, Tsuji's not been in New Japan, back in New Japan that much longer than him, but he definitely feels like he's of that caliber with how they've treated him and just his aura and his presence. Like, he has a real chance here to walk out of Tokyo Dome and have really sort of won people over, because he did that in Dominion. Everyone kind of just was like, oh, wow, who is this person? But Wrestle Kingdom draws in the quote-unquote casuals and people who haven't been following New Japan religiously through the year, people who may be coming in from AEW or whatever, and they're going to be like, oh, okay, I like this fella. Tsuji is the man as far as I'm concerned, and this is going to be a chance for him to break out, and Uemura's kind of got to keep going with that and keep up with him. That's going to be the big challenge, I think.
This isn't for Tsuji here. This is for, like, we know how good Tsuji is. He's proven himself. People are head over heels with the man instantly. Yu Uemura has not had that same instant appeal. He's not come back and been thrust into the limelight. His marquee so far is doing okay in World Tag League alongside Taichi, and it's nothing to scream or shout about. Perhaps something to cry about if you're Shota Umino, though. But yeah, this certainly seems like throwing Yuya Uemura in the deep end. And, you know, fans have even speculated, like, has he kind of been holding back? Is he, like, you know, he kind of looks a bit disinterested sometimes in Just Five Guys? Is it?
I mean, that's kind of the Just Five Guys strategy, isn't it?
Yeah, but is it, like, part of the story here? Like, you know, he dresses very differently. He doesn't necessarily look like part of Just Five Guys. The way he acts, the way he looks, everything from beginning to end. Is it a story here, or is it just Yuya Uemura not lighting the fire like we hoped he would when he'd come back? But I think we're going to get a much better indication of that come Wrestle Kingdom 18 as we move on to the next match. Another late addition to the card, special tag match. Shota Umino and Noah's Kaito Kiyomi are teaming up to take on Evil and Ren Narita of the House of Torture. A continuation from a story that's been going on since World Tag League, a continuation from a story that's going to happen 2 days prior to this match, Ariake for Noah, the New Year 2024, where these guys will be facing each other in an 8-man tag match.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I think, like, we can come in with certain preconceived notions, but I think whatever happens at that Noah show is going to have massive repercussions here. I don't think they're doing it just for the fun of, oh, you guys go and wrestle in Noah and it's a bit of a shared talent thing. I think there is going to be some serious story stuff coming from that. And I really like seeing the House of Torture in Noah. Like, it had those vibes of Suzuki Gun years ago coming in as that invading force, and they felt a bit more serious. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the House of Torture antics, kind of, but I kind of like seeing them being a little bit more ruthless. And I think combining that with the heelish ways, there's a certain something to that which I think could benefit, especially when you're dealing with guys like Shota Umino. I think the big question is going to be, Kaito Kiyomiya, is he going to be cheered or is he going to be booed in this match?
I think he will be cheered. I don't think he's got any booing really in his New Japan run. I think House of Torture as well now serve a great purpose. I really think, you know, I was fully aboard the fuck House of Torture train once upon a time, but now people that are vehemently still against them, I kind of disagree with. I think they've really come into their own and they know what their role is now and they serve it very well. That role shouldn't be near the top of the main card. It shouldn't be challenging tonight for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. This is perfect for them, this type of stuff. Tag team, Evil Ren Narita challenging for tag team titles, absolutely no issues there. But as well, I think I said this on We Work Stiff as well as part of their Wrestle Kingdom 18 preview. If everyone's having a 5-star match, then no one's having a 5-star match. Like, I
would like everyone to have a 5-star match, though. Like, you can talk about overindulgence, but I'd rather that than a 2-star match.
Yeah, of course. But if you need the bad so you can appreciate the good. Like every so often I'll see something from WWE and I'll AEW as well, and I'm like, I'm reminded why I don't watch that and why I enjoy the wrestling. I do enjoy it. I think it's important to remind yourself every so often because you get used to it. So if you're accustomed to everything being a 5-star match, then it's not going to seem so special anymore. So you need a House of Torture on the card to offer that variety. They serve a good purpose. The crowd they're both over and hated. Like, I think the crowd just love to hate them type deal. Because, you know, fans are wearing the shirts. Fans are holding the towels up and everything like that. But yeah, this is, you know, Ren Narita and Shota Umino, the last of the new guys, the young lions here to be on the card. I think it's done wonders for Ren Narita joining House of Torture. It's finally giving him something he can actually sink his teeth into. He can actually get a gimmick and a story going. That fucking cape he wore was awful, I must say, at the final 2 Korakuen shows of the year.
That's the point, though, isn't it? Like,
no way was that the point, man.
But you were just saying you can't have the 5-star matches. You can't have the entrance style. You have to appreciate it by watching the crap capes.
Stop attacking me. Stop attacking me with logic. God damn it. But he looked like, when he came out, it looked like when Taguchi used to take the piss out of Evil when Evil was part of LIJ and the that's exactly what I thought. I thought he was going to play like a little toy fucking scythe or something like that as well. But yeah, no, that match is the 4th match on the card. Next match, Never Openweight Championship, Takagi Shingo Takagi. I've never said Takagi Shingo like that. Shingo Takagi taking on Tama Tonga for the Never Openweight Championship. Look, for me, it's hard to get excited about this one. I was very much on the Tama Tonga train last year. The man came into his own as a singles wrestler. The matches versus Okada and Jay White in the G1 Climax, tremendous. The title challenge for Okada, fantastic. But yeah, I don't know. He's just I've fallen out of love with Tama Tonga. I think there's definitely guys that would be much more suited for this match than him.
The Never Openweight title in 2023 felt like it was going to really find its groove, and then I felt like it just kept kind of tripping over. The booking never really suited it in the long term, I think, and ultimately Tama Tonga didn't really benefit from it as much as I was expecting him to, because yeah, like he came out of that G1 looking really strong and felt like they finally found the groove with him as a singles wrestler. They've been trying for years. Back with the Gorilla's face paint, the war paint, when he was doing Bullet Club stuff, it felt like they were trying to find that ground for him. And they finally clicked, but it just hasn't really hit the mark for us anyways. I know it's a bit of a mixed opinion on him.
He's popular in Japan. Gorillas of Destiny are massively popular in Japan, and Tama Tonga is at the front of that, and he has been since he went babyface. They love him, and like I said, I loved him last year. It's just, it all feels a bit flat to me these days. And you know, Shingo Takagi he's headlined Tokyo Dome. He was there as the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. And, you know, this isn't a bad spot for him as an Never Openweight Champion. It's kind of where we always saw him. But his match versus Jeff Cobb at Wrestle Kingdom 15, one of my favorite Wrestle Kingdom matches. They're a pandemic crowd, and Jesus Christ, like I say, it was Godzilla versus King Kong. I loved that match so fucking much. And this is not going to be that.
Yeah, potentially with the crowd, if they get behind Tama Tonga, they might be able to make something of this. It's not the Never Openweight title match I would prefer to see. There's a lot of guys in the Rambo I would maybe prefer to see in this position.
Amen.
But given the years that Tama Tonga's put in with New Japan and the dedication, they like to look after the people who've been there long term and really dedicate themselves. I don't mind them continuing the experiment a bit longer, giving him this, even if it's the one last Wrestle Kingdom moment for him to really prove himself. He's earned it, I would say, but let's see him prove it.
Take care of Hanare. That would be my counterpoint. Like, he's done the young lion shtick as well. He's been around and he's suffered, and he's gone through so many changes in names. And he was Toa Hanare, then he was Hanare, then he was Aaron Hanare. Now he's Hanare in all capitals. Like, and he's proven himself in 2023, like the Shingo Takagi Triad match, like getting the highest rating from Dave Meltzer during Wrestle Kingdom weekend, where there's a million fucking matches happening. And like, he's got a story with Shingo. He's always had a story with Shingo. And granted, Tama Tonga has also had a story with Shingo as well. I think this is their second or third match, like within the past 6 months-ish. Because like Tama confronted Shingo after he defended the title in in America against Trent. I can't remember the name of the show or anything like that. But yeah, no, this is a match that certainly doesn't feel Wrestle Kingdom worthy. I'll say that much. But I feel like this next match does feel Wrestle Kingdom worthy. Gorillas of Destiny continuing. El Phantasmo and Hikuleo this time, taking on Hirota Goto and Yoshihashi. It's IWGP Tag Team Championships and the Strong Openweight Tag Team Championships on the line. Title versus title. Bishamon, of course, winning at World Tag League. But yeah, I mean, this match I'm a fan of. This is the rubber match as well. Very quick rubber match. Like a little over a month, these 3 matches would have happened. Maybe a month and a half at a push. But yeah, this feels like a big match feel.
It definitely got a lot of time and a lot of focus with the World Tag League final. And I think for the most part, they definitely stepped up and delivered. They're not going to have the same amount of time. They're not going to have the same spotlight this time around. They're going to have to really push and earn it. It's going to be interesting to see. Like, I think Hikuleo and El Phantasmo work really well in Japan, more so than even in America. And Bishamon obviously have been the pillars of the tag, the tag division now for years. I'm hoping that El Phantasmo and Hikuleo win because I think Bishamon have kind of reached the end of the train for what they can do. I think you bring in the Gorillas of Destiny, I guess 2.0 with these guys, and open up the door to a lot of new matchups, new possibilities, and honestly maybe give us a bit of a break from Bishamon. As great as they've been, I just feel like they've kind of reached the peak of what they can contribute. They've won the Tag League 3 times. They've been champions for a long time now. I don't really need to see them running around with 2 title belts, even though we don't really know what the future of these belts are.
Yeah, I think that's the big question. Do we unify the titles? Goto and Yoshihashi have seemed to hint at not unifying the titles. In an interview with Tokyo Sports, they were saying how the strong titles are a worldwide title. They want to defend the titles worldwide. They want to be seen, show how good they are across the world, and that's too right as well. They deserve praise elsewhere than in Japan. They are one of the best tag teams in the world and have been for a long time now. People still of the old notion that Yoshihashi isn't any good. Brain dead. The man is a revelation. Yeah, they're not going to be able to do their World Tag League match. They're not going to have the 40+ minutes, but they can pull from that match. They can pull from the story. They can pull from Hikuleo going up for Thunder Kiss to the top rope and eating shit. They can, tease another table maybe and them second guessing it. There's a lot they can pull from in their past 2 matches to make this one still very good. Look, this is another match. Like I said, apparently I'm a tag team guy this Wrestle Kingdom time because this is a match I am excited for.
That's why we're doing this. We're tag teaming.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll challenge for the tag titles after. We need to figure out a name. I feel like we can.
Have you got your flights to Japan to come out afterwards and lay down the challenge?
I feel like between the Australian and the British, we can come up with a tag team name. But
we're basically just Team DK. You can be Zack Sabre Jr. I'll be every other Australian within that faction. You got the shirt already.
I'm fine with being Zack Sabre Jr. But yeah, it's no secret. ELP and Hikuleo have been doing the media circuit to build up the hype for this match. I was included in that circuit. Look, well, I only intended to go maybe 15-20 minutes with them so I could plug that in here for you guys to watch. We ended up going around about 50 minutes. It was a lot of fun, a lot of insight, a bit of backstage stuff, some stuff that you wouldn't have thought that they would speak about, a lot of interesting insight about this match, about their New Japan careers, about the future, ELP even revealing contract information. But to check out that whole interview, it is on the Wrestle In YouTube channel. We're not going to put that whole interview here because it's 50 minutes long and we want to keep this a bit more focused to Wrestle Kingdom. Yes. But no, right now I'm going to cut over to that interview to talk about Wrestle Kingdom with ELP and Hikuleo, the Gorillas of Destiny, the strong openweight tag team champions. And joining me now for as part of the Wrestle Kingdom 18 preview is the Gorillas of Destiny, El Phantasmo and Hikuleo, the strong openweight tag team champions, ready and primed for Wrestle Kingdom 18, where they will be challenging for the IWGP Tag Team Championships, going up head-to-head against Bishamon, title versus title. I need to kick this off with the big question, guys. Where the hell did Hikuleo get an elf costume that would fit him for that World Tag League press conference?
I was just as surprised as you, man. I was just as surprised as you when I walked in the room. ELP had his elf hat on, and I was like, I wonder if you found one for me. And then, boom, pulls it out, size XL too. I'm a 2X to a 3X. Where'd you get that from? Was that from Amazon?
Yeah, I just ordered it off Amazon. Got it shipped to the hotel in Kumamoto.
I was about to say, there's no way you got that in Japan, because surely they wouldn't make
No,
costumes big enough for Hikuleo in Japan.
Absolutely no way. But it was kind of one of those things where I was like, well, it was the same with the Bert and Ernie costume. I didn't know if it was going to fit, but it would also been funnier if it didn't fit. So either way, I'm forcing them to wear it. But yeah, I was surprised that the XL fit him so good and it looked good. And you know, Jado-san actually went and bought his own Santa hat and beard.
That got me when he done the ho ho ho, and then he asked for the translation as well.
Yeah, he's low key funny, man. He's got some good English. One of the better guys that speaks English, so he understands humor.
I do love Jado, and you mentioned about an Ernie costume as well. Have you had any other ideas that you've like not been able to plan out, or that you know maybe if you've got one for the future and you don't want to say, but any that you wanted to do for previous press conferences?
I mean the first press conference was at Halloween, so I was like, oh, it would be funny just to come in like a costume. I remember like I sent a tweet out to Alex Zane. I was like, yo, you guys better fucking wear something nice and drippy because we're gonna out drip you guys. And then he didn't know how to take that, and then we got to Vegas, and we came in like jeans and a t-shirt, and he was like, oh, I thought you guys were like wearing some like fancy outfits or something. And I was like, no, I just wanted to like talk shit. And then as they were like doing their entrance and they went out, I like went into my backpack and pulled out the Bert and Ernie costumes, and then we put them on and didn't tell them, and then we came out dressed up as Bert and Ernie and popped them pretty good, and everyone backstage was laughing. But the original plan I wanted to do was have Leo as Big Bird, and then I would be Oscar the Grouch, because that's basically who we are in Sesame Street versions. But they had a Big Bird costume for his size, but they didn't have an Oscar the Grouch in my size. So then I was like, it's just not going to work. Then I was like, what if we be like a blue and pink Powerpuff Girl? And then, then I saw the Bert and Ernie, and I was like, oh, well, Bert's tall and Ernie's like dumb. I was like, it'll work. We'll see what happens. And then it got such a good reaction that, we were like, we got to do something for the Christmas and, be a little like Santa elves giving out presents to the fans and stuff. So
yeah, no shortage of ideas.
That EOP can find an elf costume in Japan that can fit me, but New Japan can't give me tracksuits for the last 2 years that don't fit me. Like the last 2 years, I got tracksuits that come up to my forearm and down to my shins, and I'm like, come on, bro, just make 1 3X for me. If you can make one for Fale, why can't you make one for me, please?
Yeah, no.
If they don't this year, man, let's fucking cause some hell, bro.
So the real reason we're, of course, Wrestle Kingdom 18 is around the corner. You head into Tokyo Dome to face Bishamon. Winners will be crowned dual IWGP and Strong Openweight Tag Team Champions. How are you feeling heading into the Tokyo Dome, ELP? It's not your first rodeo, but Hikuleo, your first time on the main card.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm stoked. Like you said, it's my first time on the main card. I've only been on the Rumble, the Rambo, whatever it's called. But yeah, super stoked for that. The nerves are starting to kick in a little bit now that I'm getting a lot more questions. It's starting to settle in a little bit more. I'm sure by the time we see the stage and we go backstage getting ready for the show itself and the crowd starts coming in, that's usually when the butterflies start kicking in. But luckily, I got someone who's been on that big stage a couple times and someone who's got plenty of experience with that.
I got your back, baby girl. Don't you worry.
One serious question, though, as well, is like fans are speculating, myself included, because Strong isn't so much Strong as it once was anymore. It's not its own weekly TV show. It's just kind of pay-per-views, for lack of a better word. If you win the titles, if Bishamon wins the titles, will the titles be unified? Are they going to be defended separately? Would you want to unify them if you win the match and it's your decision?
I don't know, to be honest, what's going to happen with that. If it was up to me, I would sell the Strong titles to the highest bidding fan, and then I would take that money and then buy new IWGP Tag Team Championships, because they're a little faded. They're not shiny as they used to be, and we're really focused on becoming the 100th IWGP Tag Team Champions. That I would like to see new IWGP straps, nice new shiny boys. The blue fucking Strong titles are beat to shit. Like the War Dogs threw them around the ring for the last 6 months. That like all the bolts are falling off, and the little lion plates are like we had to super glue them, and we're trying to scrub them. And
almost got lost. That was at a 229 show. I was like, there, Gay Kid comes out, he drops the title, and I saw the plate ping off. And David Francisco, who you probably know, like went to pick up the belt, and he went to walk away without the plate. And I was like, David, like the thing's busted. And he went to grab that as well. So, I mean, maybe I should have kept my mouth shut and I'll have a bit of memorabilia there. But
well, that's why the War Dogs had the stickers over the belts. I mean, they look like shit. Like we like wrestling for strong, but yeah, you know, I'm on the opinion that there is maybe a couple too many titles in New Japan. We don't need fucking 45 titles, even though we have a roster of like over 100 people. But yeah, I get why we have them. I like doing the strong shows. I have a lot of love for the strong brand, but you know, I don't know how many strong shows we're going to be doing to defend them on. But at the same time, hey, we'll defend them both. We'll defend them individually. We'll defend them both on one night. I don't know if that's ever been done before. You know, to defend the strong titles and the IWGP titles later on. I think that'd be.
They had it Independence Day. It was not one night after the other with War Dogs and Bishamon, but no, not the same night.
Yeah, see, like they kind of already done that whole like song and dance with the dual strong IWGP. Like, who knows what's going on with the open weight championship that Eddie has with becoming the Triple Crown? Like, who knows what's going on with that? So,
yeah, that's a clusterfuck and a half. But you two collectively, you're known as Gorillas of Destiny. Of course, that name also includes Jado, Tamatonga, Tangaloa, the whole crew. Have you two batted about any team names or just the two of you?
Oh, we tried. Trust me, we tried before we got started. We were like, big blue balls,
big blue sexy boys, big and small, pink and brown.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we're just like, you know what? We'll just keep it simple. If something pops up, it pops up. But right now, just the GOD, Gorillas of Destiny, the Gorillas. You know, we'll carry that torch for now.
The GOD fit very good in my ELP song, so that was an easy fix. So
yeah. The ELPs, you've always got great music, but you have your own hand in doing that, don't you? You've make your own music. You're putting out playlists on Spotify and those type of things. Who in wrestling right now would you guys say has the best entrance music, not including GOD?
Ooh,
that's a good question.
Oh, you know what? NJPW.
Oh yeah, his is like
he's got that like tribal metal music or something.
Yeah,
it doesn't play very often. I want to see him rack up some more big wins so I can hear that music. But I remember I heard it backstage. I was like, "Whose fucking song is this? This rules!" And it was NJPW's new theme song. That's really cool.
I like Kaito Kiyomiya's. His is real like Japan. Like it's just so. It fits.
He's a pirate boy though.
Yeah,
it sounds like pirate music, but then he comes looking like a peacock. I'm like, you gotta look dressed like a pirate, bro. You gotta study those Paul Burchill tapes, man. Come on.
Oh man.
ELP, you've had a year of big changes. You know, left Bullet Club, become a fan favorite, ultimately joined GOD. The World Tag League final, you kind of end up having to go solo for the last 5 minutes because Hikuleo has been put through a table.
5 minutes, bro? Come on, bro. Do your research.
Longer than 5 minutes?
I was like 18.
It wasn't that long.
Felt like 20.
But yeah, like the crowd are losing their mind rooting for you. They're so firmly behind you when they're just stacked against you in that moment. I think it's clear how much the Japanese audience have really grown to love you as both a singles wrestler and a tag wrestler now, Hikuleo. Like your match with Naito in the New Japan Cup, when you challenged Tamatonga and David Finlay for the Never title, and now the two of you collectively as well getting great reactions. Why do you think you've been able to build such a great connection with the Japanese crowd? Because not everyone can.
I pay them before the show.
It's a good idea.
They're really like 100 yen. It's like 70 cents Canadian. Throw out a couple of those coins. Oh, hey, don't forget who gave you some free money. But no, I don't know. I think that the Japanese fans are a lot smarter than the Western audience, and they understand the sacrifices that I went through during COVID, and all the effort that I'm putting in for diminishing returns, and then the whole getting kicked out of Bullet Club, getting kicked in the balls by Ishimori, having Kenta turn his back, not having any friends, having all these big matches, and I just keep losing, and I can't quite get myself to the next level. And then finally the God brothers come in and pick me up off the ground and then take me out to dinner and, kind of invite me into their family. It was like a real feel-good moment for them, for everyone who's been following what we've been doing. And it's genuine. We're having a lot of fun giving the love back to the fans, because during COVID it was real hard to not cheer and not boo, and they couldn't drink at the shows, and they couldn't sit by their friends, and they had to clap for like 2-3 hours in a row. Like, if you ever tried clapping for like 30 seconds, it sucks. It's annoying.
Yeah, I mean, I done Wrestle Kingdom this year, 2023, and like Tokyo Dome, I was allowed to cheer and make noise, and then the next year at New Year's Dash, I had to sit there and clap, and it's like, oh, Jay White just challenged Hikuleo to a loser leaves Japan match, and I have to sit here on my hands, and it was awful just for that one night, let alone being a Japanese fan that's going to Korakuen all the time.
Yeah, like it sucks, and I got over being a dickhead to them for so long. It became a lot of work to try and be a bad guy, that I was getting over it, that I was like, I'm just gonna start being nicer to them, and they deserve it, and like, they're keeping this company afloat. It's not us. It's easy to wrestle for 10 minutes in front of silence, but like, the fans deserve all the love and appreciation for keeping New Japan afloat, because without them, we probably wouldn't be here right now during that whole pandemic. And that's not their fault. It's the Japanese government's fault, but they're also not used to like the fan service that we do. Like, I don't see other guys jumping in the crowd and giving them their titles, and interacting with them and taking photos with them and giving them the little hearts and stuff. Like, you see a lot more of the boys doing it now that we've started doing it, but it's just something that we wanted to give back to the fans, and they've liked it, I think.
In that same vein, Hikuleo, speaking of LP's 2023, your 2023 has been off the charts. Like, you start off defeating Jay White in that loser leaves Japan match. You win the Strong Openweight Championship. You make the quarterfinals of the G1 Climax. You win the Strong Openweight Tag Team titles with ELP. And then you top it off by making the finals World Tag League. And you're heading into Wrestle Kingdom to kick off 2024. The year started for you with the internet rumor mill running rampant about whether WWE have an interest in you, WWE have an interest in Jay White, making a lot of intrigue into this match you was going to have. And now, at the end of the year, where there was doubt at the beginning if you're going to be in New Japan, now you're firmly part of this next generation of New Japan that's clearly come into the fold with the Reiwa Three Musketeers, Yu Romero, all those guys. I'm sure you went into 2023 with big plans, wanting big success, but did you expect to have this much success? Like, how does it feel now at the end of the year to look back at everything?
Yeah, no, I think I just, coming into the year, it would just take one thing at a time. The whole Jay situation came up surprisingly. I didn't, like you said, New Year's Dash, I didn't see that coming. It came out from left field, and it was just taking each tour for what it was. I wasn't planning ahead. It was just kind of like, I knew coming back I needed to hit the ground running. It was like a slow start of my career, not a slow start, but I was a young boy, put into Bullet Club right away, and I think expectations were so high that I wasn't meeting them. But to my standard as a young boy, I was. So coming in to this past year, it wasn't a surprise. I knew in the back of my head, I knew I had what it took to take. I had what's the saying?
You had what it takes.
Yeah, I had what it takes. And so, yeah, it was a snowball effect. Once I achieved one thing, it kept going, it kept getting bigger, and you just build off of it. And you have no choice but to get better, competing with these high-level talents such as Jay White, such as Kenta, such as Naito, and now tagging with a high talent such as ELP. You have no choice. You have to get better, or else you're going to get left behind. So, yeah, it's just been one thing after the other, and I got to enjoy it while it keeps going.
Well, ELP, I've got a quick bone to pick with you here. So back on one of my old Twitter accounts before TV Asahi made me public enemy #1 for my gifts. I would call what you would call a purple nurple, I would call a nipple cripple. And you politely corrected me on Twitter by calling me an idiot.
Yeah.
So whilst I've got you here, we've got a mutual third party here. So Hikuleo, ALP's move where he would twist a nipple twister, titty twister, purple nurple, nipple cripple. What would you call that move?
There's two. In the ring, I call it purple nurple. I think it sounds funnier. Yeah. Purple nurple or I say titty twister. Those are the two I go with. The one you said, I've never heard that before.
No one's heard.
Yeah, nipple cripple.
That's a British thing, clearly.
Not even when I was
that
there.
That sounds like some gang shit, bro.
Yeah. Like,
boy,
it's that right there.
ELP, anyone who's seen you wrestle knows how damn good you are, but something I think you're underrated for a bit is your creativity. We spoke about the press conference shenanigans and all that stuff. But then you had the rigged boot story that went on for so long and was so fucking good, surrounding sudden death. One of my favorite things was when you were hyping up the debut of your new theme song, your entrance music during the pandemic. And then you come out on New Japan Strong, and it's the licensing issues that you get with Togi Marketing and the like. And there's a bit of confusion, and we're all like, oh, what? They're not playing his new music? And then you start to realize, oh, ELP's fucking with us. Like, he was never going to play this music after hyping it up for so long. You're really great at spinning wrestling tropes and giving something original instead. Have you had other creative ideas that you've just never been able to get over the line for whatever reason?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't know anything that comes off the top of my head. I'm just, I've always been like a theater kid. I was never like an amateur wrestler. I was always like the stuntman actor kind of wrestling. So whenever I come up with these like dumb ideas, and then so what I tell him and what I used to tell Ishimori is like, you just got to commit to the bit. Like whatever the bit is, you just have to commit to it. I was like, with this like the sudden death thing, it was when we were like stuck at home in Canada, and I love the Young Bucks. I thought they're so influential, and like took what they did with the back scratches and brought it up to the next level. And they had the whole like super kick party. So I was like, how can I one up the super kick party? So I was like, I'm just gonna have like a super kick. And then I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do that, but then I was like, I think tweeted that I was like super kicking trees in the Canadian wilderness or something, and then that like picked up on the news things, and I was like, huh. And then I like went to the Super J Cup for like the empty arena, like pandemic one, and I was like, hey, like Rocky, I have this idea that I'm gonna do like a loaded boot gimmick, and I'm gonna like pretend that I had ring rust and botch a bunch of things, and then like slowly like throughout the tournament get back into it, and then just start beating people with super kicks. And then I was like, this could be something. And then I remember I went to Wrestle Kingdom, and it was against Hiromu, and we were like, yeah, Gato didn't know what was going on, and I was like, yeah, I have this like story where I'm gonna have a loaded boot, and he's like, what? And I was like, Hiromu like didn't understand, and I was like, yeah, like I have like a weapon, like brass knuckles in my shoe, and like they didn't really understand. I was like, oh fuck, like I've already like started this story without asking. And I was like, looked at Rocky, I was like, you really need to help me out here. And then we like finally like convinced him it was like an old 80s Memphis style thing, and then he was on board with it. But yeah, it was one of those things where I was like, you just got to commit to the bit. And I think it lasted like multiple promotions, and it lasted all the way into the next Wrestle Kingdom where we finally revealed it. And yeah, I don't know if it's more impressive for you if I wrestled with a loaded boot the entire time, or the first time that I wrestled with it was Wrestle Kingdom. What would be more impressive to you?
Well, I remember at the Wrestle Kingdom, and lots of fans were a bit like, something seems wrong with ELP. Like, has he messed up his foot? Like, he's grabbing his foot after hitting a move, or like you jumped off the rope. And I was like, no, he's doing a bit, isn't he? Like, he's doing a story that carries on from Strong and stuff like that. But obviously, Strong isn't watched tons by Western fans. So right. I remember there was a lot of confusion around it. And then obviously it came to light what the story was. I mean, I'm obviously a mark, and I just assumed you wrestled with it every single time.
Well, I'm not going to tell you which I did, but either way, it would be impressive if I faked it for a year and pretended that I had a piece of tinfoil in my shoe, or the first time that I ever tried to wrestle with a piece of tinfoil in my shoe was Wrestle Kingdom. But yeah, it just goes back to like having to commit to the bit. Like I kind of like, that was my first singles Wrestle Kingdom moment against Hiromu, and like instead of just going out there and having a banger, I was like, I gotta get this story over, and I gotta hope that it goes well, and then I gotta spend like the entire next year to keep it interesting, and like how do I keep doing it, and people keep trying to reveal it, like, but to keep that story interesting was really like fun and challenging, and I think it kept me sane during the pandemic, that I kind of had that year-long story to keep going back to.
That was the GOD. If you are enjoying these interviews as well, I should say these all went up early on the Wrestle In Patreon. As soon as I finished recording them, I got them up within an hour up on Patreon, because I wanted to get them out there for people to check out our lovely patrons. If you're interested in joining the Patreon, you can join for just as little as $1 a month. Patreon.com/WrestleInn, like it says down in the corners. Lots of bonuses. Me and Trent do a podcast alongside Libby every week. It's Patreon exclusive, Into the Wrestleverse. We always just shooting the shit, having a good time, trying to crack each other up. Tons of other content, exclusives, early access to interviews, lots of stuff. If you're enjoying what you're seeing here, enjoying the interviews, patreon.com/WrestleIn. But the Wrestle Kingdom 18 preview continues right now with a match that I thought would be a lot higher. I say a lot higher on the card here. We're on the 7th match on the card, but given who's in the match,
Someone's got to be lower down on the card, Ciaran.
I know. I realize I'm saying this over and over again, but we didn't know what the card order was going to be until the recent announcement. But Hiromu Takahashi and El Desperado, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, 7th match on the card. Hiromu having an incredible year as champion 2023. He goes dome to dome, 365 days as champion. He's defended the title everywhere he can. He's shown up in every promotion that will have him. El Desperado having a bit of a quieter year. Strong Style being formed and then dying in the same year. Rest in peace, Strong Style 2023 to 2023. And then, you know, he had this really cool Super Junior Tag League with Master Watto, which was fantastic, the teaming, and it all comes full circle, though. Wrestle Kingdom 18. They're perfect for each other. This is the junior heavyweight rivalry in modern day New Japan Pro Wrestling.
These guys have done so much for the junior heavyweight. You know, for years now, there's been the staples, there've been the cornerstones, and we've seen this match at Wrestle Kingdom before, but we haven't seen it properly. We haven't seen it with the full crowd, and even though we've seen this match a lot of times, this is going to feel different. It's going to feel special because they finally have the crowd behind it. The two of the most popular guys on the roster, doesn't matter what your weight division is, finally going head-to-head in the Tokyo Dome with a full loud crowd. They did the mask spot. We've seen them do it before. Let's, you know, whether they do it again or not, but there's going to be that excitement. Both of these guys are going to go all out. I wouldn't be surprised if they try and steal the show and potentially even steal it full stop, because we know how good these guys are together. It's almost expected for this to be a 5-star match if you care about ratings. And I feel like they're going to do everything they can to get that rating and then some.
I think for me, they like Trent said, they had that Wrestle Kingdom match a couple of years ago, maybe, and it was pandemic crowd. It really didn't do anything special for me. I wonder if that was kind of them like well, let's not kill us. Let's having in the back of their mind, this was always going to happen again. It was always destined that we will do this properly. We will do this in front of a loud, vocal Tokyo Dome audience. I wonder. I think this match does need something special to it. It needs that moment, that Best of Super Juniors final moment where the mask gets ripped and Desperado's like, fuck it. It needs something like that. But I couldn't tell you what, because an idea that springs to mind is El Desperado comes out already fucking unmasked, which sounds crazy, but I like the idea. I think that would be really...
Desperado.
Yeah, that'd be really fucking unique and cool. Maybe he's just got the face painted or something like that. Kishin Desperado sounds so fucking cool, man. Oh god, I'm gonna be so disappointed when it doesn't happen. Now I'm setting myself up for disappointment. But yeah, I feel like these guys can't just go out and have a match. It needs to feel an epic. There needs to be a few moments where you're like blown away, like you're shocked. It can't just be a good match, because this is the match for them now. This is the pinnacle of their rivalry, I think, right now.
And the rivalry's been going on long enough that it's no longer a matter of let's go out and have a good match. That we're far beyond that. You know, we've seen the good matches, we've seen the okay matches between them. Now, like, to take this to the next level, at a Wrestle Kingdom level, you can't just go out and have a great match. I think they both know that. We've already seen them do the mask spot, which tells to me they're willing to think outside the box, go above and beyond. I don't think they just replicate that spot for spot, even though that was also done in front of a pandemic crowd. But I think they're going to find some way to replicate that kind of emotion and feeling, whether it's coming out maskless already, whether it's unique attires or something, just a personality change in the match. But both of these guys are talented enough and maybe more importantly, creative enough to work out what they need to do to take that match up a notch.
And then we get to the trio, the final three, where you could argue any of these matches could be the main event if you really wanted to. You'd be wrong because there is only one match. There should be the main event, but you can make the case, and I'll tell you you're wrong. But the first of these matches, the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship, the inaugural champion being crowned in a three-way match between Will Ospreay, Jon Moxley, and David Finlay. Let's first off, let's talk about IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. Are we fans? Are we not? What do we think? It's a very, I think it's a lazy name, given you have the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, and of course Noah has the Global Heavyweight, Global Honored Crown. Sorry, so it's kind of like got that GHC. Like, it doesn't. Like, you're kind of grasping at straws, but it's an easy conclusion to come to. And it's like, yeah, what differentiates a global championship from a world championship? I do like Chris Charlton on Twitter put out something how the world will come to see the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. The Global Heavyweight Championship will go out to see the world. And I think
hope Chris got a pay rise for that alone.
Yeah, I think that was very great from Chris, and I'm sure he will nail that in at Wrestle Kingdom. He does the grand entrances where he'll cover so much so quickly as people are making their entrances. He's fantastic at that. But yeah, what do you think about the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship, Trent?
I'll be honest, I'm apathetic towards it. I, like a lot of people, would prefer the Intercontinental Championship to come back. But if they're not going to bring it back, let's see what they do with this to make it feel special. They got rid of the US.
We were so fucking close, man.
Yeah.
Like, they said they thought about it, and then they was like, no, we'll go for this instead. The bastards.
Like, because with the US title, that came with a big bang. It looked beautiful. And I think,
if we're being honest, purpose too.
It did serve the purpose, but then it kind of got lost in the shuffle because it was the belt for the Americas, and then they made a belt for the Americas with the strong open weight title. So again, like, I don't think they really knew what they wanted to do with it after like a year or two. Not the first time they've had that issue with championship belts, women's championships. But with this title, the first and most important thing, will determine how the belt is considered is how does it look. The name is a bit goofy or whatever, but if they come out and give us an absolute banger design, all will be forgiven. If they come out with a WWE Universal title, then no one's going to give a damn no matter who wins this championship.
I think as well, like, kayfabe-wise, this match does annoy me because I think Ospreay should be going in as the inaugural champion. He was the IWGP US/UK heavyweight champion. Why has he? Okay, the titles were literally fucking destroyed. Granted,
he couldn't protect the belts.
Like, they were literally.
He didn't earn the right. His kids got destroyed by a hammer.
Yeah, they were literally fucking destroyed by what Jon Moxley called a Mario Kart hammer in a New Japan interview. But
which is stupid. There's no hammers in Mario Kart.
One of the characters, like, there's a Mario
the
Kart
Hammer Bros,
yeah,
but like there's no giant hammer.
I think we can forgive Jon Moxley of all.
I was playing Mario Kart 8 in preparation for this episode. I had to pull myself away from it. There's no hammers.
But yeah, like, I think why would Ospreay, relinquish the titles? Granted, the titles are physically fucked. But why would he relinquish and going to this as not a champion? The New Japan history has shown with Kota Ibushi when he became the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, the titles were combined, the Intercontinental and Heavyweight. He went into that first match against Ospreay as the first champion, shit in the bed and got a V0, didn't defend the title once, but he was still the first IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Will Ospreay is risking never being IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion here.
I think that's the big brain. That's the big brain play from Will for two reasons. One, because he saw what happened with Kota Ibushi. One, everyone ragged on Kota specifically for the combining of the titles, and he's thinking, okay, the US belt was reasonably well received. Everyone liked the little UK gimmick. But if I come in with a championship that nobody likes, looks like shit, everyone's going to associate it with me. So I don't want any part of that. And two, because he's buggering off to AEW, he may not be winning this match, and he doesn't want to have a V0 next to his name. I think this is big brain from Will.
That's actually really fucking smart. But can we assume that Will Ospreay's brain is that big? Are you giving Will Ospreay a bit too much credit here? We love Will Ospreay. We're only having a joke here, but can we give Will Ospreay's brain that much credit?
Well, it's even you know how they say like great minds think alike, small minds rarely differ. He could be on either side of that parallel. And I mean, it's me we're talking about, so I might be a small mind too. I'm not egocentric enough to think of myself as a genius. Yeah.
He says otherwise when we're not pressing the record button. But this match is obviously it's been like everyone wanted Will Ospreay versus Jon Moxley. Feels like David Finlay has been thrown into the mix. It's gonna be a very intriguing match. I wonder, do we get War Dogs, Coughlin and Gabe Kidd going to be in the country? You know, you've already got Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney on the card. Is there going to be interference? It wouldn't surprise me. I could see interference and Moxley and Ospreay teaming up, and everyone's like, oh wow, they're teaming up and everything, because there is bad blood between Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay. They had that singles match in Chicago that ended very dubiously with Ospreay's foot under the rope, but the referee still giving the free count. So this is a continuation of their story. You throw in the fact that Ospreay is a double contract guy right now. He's going to AEW. Jon Moxley is full AEW, and David Finlay's kind of New Japan, the only New Japan guy in here. Like,
he's the one everyone wants to go to AEW.
He's like, changed his name. He was the Rebel, and now he's the Rebel Savior. Like, probably, alluding to the fact that he's gonna save this title, save New Japan from these two almost outsiders. Moxley certainly, Ospreay on the fence here, but this is going to be an interesting match. I think it will deliver. Look, I know people aren't happy with David Finlay in there. He is definitely going to serve his purpose. He is very much improved to the David Finlay of years old. Just before he joined Bullet Club, he was having incredible matches like Zack Sabre Jr. in the NJPW TV tournament match. He faced Will Ospreay, the Jay White match in the New Japan Cup. David Finlay is very fucking capable wrestler right now. Of course, it's going to lean more into the War Dogs and the Bullet Club and the gimmicky style.
Yeah, this is going to be a very important moment. I think we can both stand here and assume that David Finlay's winning. I hope they do, because I think the worst thing they could possibly do with a new championship is for it to get stuck in AEW. Like we saw the situation with Kenny as the US champion. It goes over there and we see it defended once in like 6 months. If they do that, they're killing the belt before it has a chance to survive. So either David Finlay wins or Will wins and then loses it a month later. It's going to be very important for him this year, because obviously I think, people are mixed on Bullet Club right now and the War Dogs. I think they've been doing a really good job, but it's awkward when the leader is the least interesting part of the faction. Yeah. And David Finlay, I think, really needs to find a way to step up, meet what the others are doing, and then go above and beyond and feel like someone of that importance. Because they've tried to get him there, but it hasn't quite hit yet.
What if that is by design? What if that is by design, to have the least that just to wind people up, to annoy people a bit more, to make them hate David Finlay that bit more? Like, why the fuck is he leader of Bullet Club? Like, Gabe Kidd's right there. Like, Alex Coughlin, you could argue, right there, and every other War Dog is right there. Why if David Finlay, and the way they're all so behind him, and they put like, he's the fucking leader. Like, they would all like, you've got Gabe Kidd popping off, but he's popping off for David Finlay. Like, I wouldn't put it past Bullet Club and the fact that it is a group of foreigners to Japan to know what they can do to get under the skin of certainly Western fans. And Bullet Club is arguably the group that Western fans give the shit the most about. It's certainly the one that has the most Western appeal. That, David Finlay, Gabe Kidd, Gato, whoever, they all got together and was like, yeah, this is again, big brain time.
Yeah, Finlay and Gato meet, and they're like, Gato's like to Finlay, look, I've got this really good idea for a gimmick. I know you've been trying hard to get yourself over, to prove you're a good wrestler and all that. How about if you suck?
Yeah.
I think you're stretching a bit. I think you're pulling the, not everyone can wrestle 5-star matches. So let's have people who aren't quite hitting the mark. You can do that to an extent, but like when you're doing it to the point where people are, oh, this is dumb, I'm not interested. You've got to find the middle
ground.
Very
fucking fine line.
And I don't think they're nailing it. If that is their strategy, I don't think they're nailing it. They need to find a way to genuinely get antagonistic towards David Finlay without it being, there's 700 different wrestling promotions I could be watching right now, and I'm not going to waste my time watching him, which I think he's in that spot right now. He needs to get to, oh, I hate you, I want to see you lose, not I hate you, I don't want to see you, full stop.
Yeah, no, I agree. Just making the case doesn't mean I agree.
Yeah. You playing devil's advocate. Maybe
into...
you're the devil in AEW.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I hope not. I could be. They say AEW seemingly don't know, so you know.
Well, we know you're best buddies with MJF. You guys are close.
Yeah, obviously.
Best
This
friends.
is let's. I want to say let's steer clear away from the AEW talk as we move into the semi-main event, the second match on the top of the card. Kazuchika Okada taking on Bryan Danielson. The rematch from Forbidden Door. Bryan Danielson, of course, winning with a broken arm or elbow, shoulder, whatever the case may be. Look, this is the match for lots of people on the Wrestle Kingdom card. It isn't any other match. It's not the freeway. It's certainly not the main event. I feel like if this is your match, you're probably not overly interested in the main event. I feel like that Venn diagram's probably very small. But this is the New Japan tend to have a match or two that's kind of for the Western fan base that they're going to give a shit a lot more than the Japanese fan base, I feel. But also the reaction Danielson's video got when it was announced he was going to be challenging Okada for Wrestle Kingdom, there were yes chants in the crowd. They're not naive. They're not idiots. The Japanese audience, they will give a shit about this match, but it's certainly, I think that just the Western fans give the shit that little bit more.
Definitely Western fans, just because they're more connected as a whole with AEW and even like with Danielson's independent runs through Ring of Honor and stuff. But like they're familiar with Danielson. And I think the fact that we haven't seen him in Japan for so long, I think it's 2019 was the last time he was there with the WWE, and then it was like 2009 since he was there with a Japanese promotion with Pro Wrestling Now. So this is a long time in the making, and since then he's only grown strength to strength, only become a bigger star, bigger name. And this is the match we wanted to see. We got it Forbidden Door, and when it finished, even considering the injuries, everyone was like, it was good, but they were saving something. Are they going to do it again at Wrestle Kingdom? And this, we're getting it. Now, who knows how many body parts are going to break down in Danielson in the process of this match. He doesn't have a great history with Okada, but like, I expect this to be notably better than the Forbidden Door match.
I think as well, this is the match we wanted to see, and it's where we wanted to see it. I think for people that know Okada, know Danielson, know how wrestlers just seem to elevate themselves when they head to Japan. Yeah, Forbidden Door was great, but it will hit different in Tokyo Dome. It's just it's unexplainable. It's just the vibe, the energy, the occasion, the venue, everything about it. As well as you know, I'm not a fan of weekly wrestling TV shows. That's why I'm not a fan of American TV shows. We're not gonna get Fight Forever. We're not gonna get This Is Awesome. We're just gonna get Japanese fans screaming and losing their minds, which is infinitely better than any unified joint chant. They'll go Okada, Okada, and that's about it. That's the only unified chant you will get from a Japanese crowd, is just chanting the name. There will be squeals of Okada and Danielson from the audience, and it adds so fucking much to a match when you have a red hot crowd. It's kind of hard to get into Tokyo Dome. It's such a big venue. The wrestlers will say it takes seconds for, they'll do a move and it will take seconds before they hear the reaction, because it's got to travel such a long distance. The air and the energy and the noise, it all goes up and it has to rebound all the way back down. It's a big fucking baseball stadium venue. It's fucking great time. I love the Tokyo Dome so much. I love their chicken nuggets especially. God damn, I get like I literally go back and forth and get like 6 lots of chicken nuggets as the show goes on, because you're in the dome, you ain't got any other choice. But there's also a lot of choice for food in Tokyo Dome. I'm getting sidetracked here, man. I love the Tokyo Dome.
What's your top 5 food in the Tokyo Dome?
Man, I think I just always get chicken nuggets. I won't lie. But like they have so much stuff in the Tokyo Dome. Like literally, there's probably at least 10 different concession stands serving like different food. But then there's multiple of each of those concession stands. It's a great time. I will say Wrestle Kingdom 17, 2023 as well. They done like New Japan collaboration stuff. They had like a New Japan beer. They had what they called Lion Juice, which was like a soft drink. And I'm not a big drinker, so I got that. It was really nice.
I'm glad, because it doesnn't sound nice. I don't think I want to drink Lion Juice. It
was really nice. I will defend Lion Juice. But yeah, back to the match anyway. Okada versus Danielson. I loved that in the final match of 2023 for Okada versus Kosei Fujita and Zack Sabre Jr. He went to do the Rainmaker and he won with a luchador Mexican style roll up instead. Though I can't say the word. I don't want to embarrass myself here. But he pulled it off expertly, and it was clearly yeah, Danielson, I can do this shit too, bro. Let's fucking go.
These guys, like, it's fun when you see those little tiebacks, because we've seen the first match now, and like they've gone away, they're learning what they need to improve on, and like Okada, maybe realizes, look, my technical game isn't to Danielson's level. I need to find some new tricks to throw at him. The thing I'm most excited for is Danielson in the Tokyo Dome. That feels like it should have already happened.
Do we get final countdown?
I would imagine it would be the AEW theme. Just because he's the AEW wrestler coming in. I think they're going to use that brand association. I would be down for the Final Countdown, but that's probably also very expensive comparatively.
It is, yeah. Tony Khan has literally said how much it is in interviews.
If Tony Khan's not paying out, Gato's not paying out. I would rather Gato save the yen to keep Okada in. If they lose Okada but got the Final Countdown,
hopefully President Tanahashi is going to be helping keep Okada. Hopefully,
maybe Tanahashi gets Final Countdown.
Yeah. Fuck Danielson. But yeah, this is a big important match here. You have to assume Okada's getting the win back here. You'd hope, as a New Japan fan for sure. You know, he's the tag team match in AEW as well. I'm pretty sure Okada was on the losing end of that.
Okada's too big a deal to be going down 0-2 in any kind of match right now.
Yeah, especially with an outsider. Like I think that he maybe went 0-2 against like Jay White or someone like that. But there was a story.
Unless he's leaving, in which case bugger him.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Let's not go there. Let's stick to the Wrestle Kingdom 18. We're going to head to our main event of Wrestle Kingdom 18, the main event of Tokyo Dome, January 4th. Itenyo IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Sanada defending against Tetsuya Naito, ex-partners, ex-friends. Just 5 guys now versus Los Ingobernables de Japón, the G1 Climax winner. There is so much story going into this match. It might not feel sexy on paper. I appreciate that if you're not a New Japan diehard and not a New Japan mark like myself, but there's so much to eat up if you take the time to look into this match.
How can you not look at this poster and think sexy? I mean, just look at that chiseled jaw on Sanada's side and the devilish eyes on Tetsuya Naito. This is a fascinating match because there is so much story there, but at the same time, there's been so much story not told because they're both passive wrestlers. They're not the type to go into the ring and do big call outs and, you know, sort of push the pace in the preview tags. And it's been fascinating watching the sort of discourse surrounding this match.
Yeah.
You know, it was super hyped to begin with. And even at the start, people were saying, look, the hype, the build up is going to be low key because that's what these guys are. And then as the months sort of rolled around and we're getting there, it's like, oh, this is a low key build. Exactly what we predicted, but it's still a low-key build.
Yeah.
You definitely need to come in with the story, with the history, and understand where these guys are coming from and why they're doing it this way.
New Japan have done a great job. They've been putting out these like interview documentary style series on YouTube to hype up certain matches, Wrestle Kingdom matches. They've done it for World Tag League as well with Nagato and Suzuki and Narita and Shota Umino. And granted, you shouldn't have to go out of your way to watch stuff to get you hyped for a match. That should be done in the ring. And then if you want to get an added feel for it, it does add so much. Like they show Sanada and Naito both had their tryout for New Japan happened on the same day, the same tryout and everything. The only person from that entire crop of young upstarts hoping to break into professional wrestling, the only man to progress was Tetsuya Naito. Sanada failed the tryout, and there's footage from the tryout. It is so interesting to watch. That you have to do like basically on your neck. You have to flip forward, flip back, flip forward, flip back, flip forward, flip back. Naito is a fucking freak doing this. It is insane seeing how easy this man does it. Like he's just made of rubber. And then Sanada's doing okay. He's getting it, but it's kind of a bit of a stutter, Naito's like, it is insane to watch. And then at the end, it's like you have to say thank you. You kind of had to cut a quick little, like literally a 5-second promo just to say, like, you know, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Tetsuya Naito stands there, center of the ring, chest out, shouts at the top of his lungs, "My name's Tetsuya Naito." Rah, 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 rah. They cut to Sanada. Sanada's like, "Arigatou gozaimasu, thank you for the opportunity," in that tone of voice. And and someone literally shouts back, "Speak up, speak louder." And he says it again, and they're like, "Okay." And Sanada fails. Naito progresses. Sanada goes a different route. He goes to All Japan. He passes their test. He goes through All Japan. He's working with Keiji Muto. TNA eventually, you know, history has it, he comes back to New Japan. How does he come back? He comes back helping Naito win the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, defeating Okada and joining LIJ. Years pass. Sanada makes the change, decides enough's enough, forms and joins Just 5 Guys, wins the title, and here we are today. But man, the story here, my concern is that they've had 2 matches and neither of them have been particularly good. The G1 match in particular was not good. The New Japan Cup match a step up because Sanada debuted Deadfall, but I think this is a different Sanada now.
Yeah, obviously he's got a bit more experience now under the Just 5 Guys thing. He's an interesting wrestler because there's not a lot of matches of his where I sort of step back and go, whoa. You know, I'm not necessarily expecting this to be like a star chart buster. I don't expect this to be as immediately impactful as maybe an Okada Danielson. But at the same time, like, I think Sonata knows the score. He's had an okay reign, but he's like, if he loses the title here, he's going to go through this reign without that signature victory. Yeah, he hasn't beat any of the big guys since becoming champion.
Yeah, he beat Suji, he beat Hiromu, he beat Jack Perry. Is that it?
Yep. And Evil at Rio.
And Evil, yeah.
Like
he's not taken on any top guys.
No, and that's like, if he beats Naito, obviously he gets that big victory at Tokyo Dome, the main event, and all of that. But if he loses here, and I think a lot of people are expecting him to, he can't go out with a whimper without having gotten that signature win. He needs to go out there and really remind everyone why he was given this opportunity in the first place. It's going to be a real proving ground situation for him, because I think the title reign has been okay. They haven't given him the best chances to really go above and beyond. Tokyo Dome main event, you're going up against one of the most popular guys in New Japan's history. This is your chance to do that.
Isn't it scary, though, that it seems so obvious that Tetsuya Naito has to win and get the roll call, that you're like, what if they just don't do it? It's quite a scary look. There he is, Tetsuya Naito. We're joined now for a very live and very unexpected interview with the Tokyo Dome main eventer himself. But yeah, it does scare me a bit. Like, it's too obvious. And there's nothing wrong with going for the obvious. Everyone will be so happy to see Tetsuya Naito have that roll call. Look, I was in Tokyo Dome in 2020. I was there when Naito finally was going to get that Tokyo Dome roll call, and Kenta ruined it. And, you know, we're here talking kayfabe and stuff. I'm not an idiot, but I still fucking hate Kenta for that, man. Like, literally, I've never hated a wrestler for a moment more in kayfabe than Kenta in that moment, than stealing that moment from me, like from Naito, from everyone in the audience. I was ready. I was chanting. I was there, like, no, I'm there. How? What the fuck? Oh god, it irritated me to no end. It vexed me. And it makes me sad that I won't be there to finally see Naito get that roll call. But that is what this entire match isn't even about. The title. It is about, will Naito get that roll call? Will Naito finally? His dream has always been to walk up the ramp at the end of Wrestle Kingdom. At the end of a Tokyo Dome show, he wants to go up the ramp as the winner. And this is the final hurrah, it feels like.
In many ways, it's almost fitting that he has to conquer one of his own in order to get that situation. Because obviously he beat Okada. That's the big mountain to climb in New Japan. But like, for someone like Naito, where the story is so strong, it kind of feels fitting. The sheep that left the flock. He needs to kind of, to get over that hump, he needs to finish someone who should have been in that roll call that he would be giving there. What are your odds on David Finlay coming out and interrupting?
Oh no! Look, I think if New Japan wanted to be a comedy promotion, it would be very funny if like Kenta came running out and he's just like, everyone's grabbing him and he's just like trying to scrap over everyone to just get.
Or there's just a big line of people running out to try and interrupt the roll call.
Like, yeah, like. But this isn't one of those moments. I don't think it. I didn't like it. I still disagree with it. Back in 2020, we could have never gotten to this moment. New Japan weren't expecting a pandemic. Maybe the plan was for it to just happen a year later. And the pandemic, like, you don't know. We should have fucking, like, I appreciate the New Beginning show against Kenta. Naito was a bloody mess. It done big numbers, I think, at the time for New Japan, and it was a big match and a big occasion. And that's the thing about pro wrestling, it never ends. Like, yes, Naito gets the roll call and he's got to wrestle next night at New Year's Dash. This isn't the end of a series. It's not the end of a season. But yeah, like, they've got to do this roll call, man. This is gonna be a very big turning point for New Japan. And like, you've got President Tanahashi will be making his first probably public appearance, and you've got Naito kind of closing the book on an entire chapter of Wrestle Kingdom. You've got all these new guys coming to the fold. There's a clear generational shift happening in New Japan. 2023 has seen that happen. It's why people aren't necessarily very positive on New Japan in 2023. They've had to trial stuff. They've had to test stuff. They can't make Yosuji the top guy yet. What if he doesn't work out? They've got to test whether he can do it, whether the crowd's going to react to it. They've got to do it for Shota. They've got to do it for Ren Narita, Yuya Uemura, Hikuleo, Henare, everyone. They don't know what is and isn't going to work. Imagine if they did what they did with Okada and Okada shit the bed. Imagine if Okada, the Rainmaker shot, and like, that's a risk that was the biggest, ballsiest risk, and it fucking worked out because, like, they knew if it worked that what would happen. But what if it didn't work out? Okada's got. New Japan aren't ashamed of their history either. That is going to be in the history. If Yota Tsuji gets put in the top position, he fails. That's part of his history now. You only get one Tetsuya Naito. That only happens organically once. You can't redo that. You can't make that happen again.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that Naito's the one who we're talking about in this situation, because he's the one who they tried and they failed with, and he had to go away and he had to sort of rebuild himself and find the character that's launched him to the top. I think they could choose to give Sonata the win, but I think they know the crowd deep down want the roll call. They've been waiting years. They've been, the Wrestle Kingdom 12, everyone thought he was beating Okada and he lost. Wrestle Kingdom 14, everyone thought he was winning. He won, got stopped. Even last year against the great Keiji Muto, he beat him there in the Tokyo Dome in the quote-unquote main event, and then that wasn't the main event. He's been blue-balled for nearly as long as I've been watching New Japan. Coming on 7 years now, those balls have been blue. I think this is the moment where it finally, they can't move to the next generation without closing the storybook.
Yes.
Completing the story, Mr. Cody Rhodes.
This is
where they can do it.
What other stories are there from New Japan history that you feel that haven't had a closure, whether good or bad, or, Jay White disappearing to AEW, so you don't necessarily get a closure there, or things like that? This is really one of the only ongoing things they have. This is the definition of a fresh fucking slate if Naito wins here. He can have a great reign and everything like that, which he has. They've not given him that either. He's never had the proper reign. I would be happy to see him go dome to dome. No issues there. And then, he gets that final hurrah again, because I'm sure he's still going to be capable in a year. But look, whilst that is the main event, we still hopefully got one interview for you here. I've not recorded this yet, so I'm still figuring out times with this gentleman. Hopefully this does happen. If it doesn't, I apologize for hyping this up. But before we jump into that interview, quick little plug: follow Trent on Twitter at OneUpCulture. He's here talking New Japan Pro Wrestling, but his true love is Stardom. Tons of Stardom content, articles, podcasts, interviews. He done the first ever English interview with Micah. Let's not forget that. Micah's first ever English interview. I was going to say something very bad there. I'm going to stop myself. And if you want to, you can follow me on Twitter at CiaranRH93. Follow Wrestle In at Wrestle In down in the corner. Subscribe on YouTube. Leave us a comment. What matches are you most excited for? What insight have we provided that's good? What did we totally get wrong and you want to slate us about? But yeah, hopefully this interview will come off. I want to introduce the newest English voice of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Walker Stewart himself will be making his Tokyo Dome debut as well on January 4th. He's excited for the show. I know that much. We speak a little bit. But yeah, here's Walker Stewart to talk Wrestle Kingdom 18. Joining me now as the Wrestle Kingdom 18 preview continues is the newest voice on New Japan Pro Wrestling, the newest voice of English commentary for New Japan Pro Wrestling, the one and only Walker Stewart. He's doing the media circuit, and he was kind enough to include Wrestle In within his busy schedule. Walker, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the folks at Wrestle In. Ciaran, you've always been very kind, and I'm happy to be here. So we're talking Wrestle Kingdom 18. We're talking some other things as well, and I can't wait to get into all of it.
We are talking Wrestle Kingdom 18, but before you can get to Wrestle Kingdom 18, you've got to take the road to Wrestle Kingdom 18.
Sure.
And the road to Wrestle Kingdom 18, it goes through Korakuen Hall. You got to call your first shows in person at Korakuen Hall recently. And goddamn, your first ever main event, Korakuen Hall, was that incredible never openweight 6-man tag team championship match. Okada, Tanahashi, and Ishii taking on United Empires, Jeff Cobb, Hanare, and Great Okan. I'm watching from home. I'm losing my mind. Korakuen was doing what only they can do best, elevating that match to a whole nother level. They were molten hot, absolutely red hot. What was that first Korakuen experience like for you? That must have been dreamland.
Working for New Japan Pro Wrestling and being a follower of the product now, along with that work, has unlocked something with tag team and wrestling for me that I never truly had. Not that I never had an appreciation or a love for it, but it came in a different form. I was big on Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, Rock and Roll Express, and this 80s territory style tag team wrestling that I was much more in love with. But man, that 6-man tag team championship match, 6-mans, 8-mans, whatever tag team combination you'll find in New Japan Pro Wrestling, it's always a great time. And you'll see some of them are formulaic yet always different, and it's so incredible to see. That 6-man, I think, did a lot of great things for every single person in it, but you cannot talk about that 6-man, that incredible main event, without talking about the entire last third of it with Hanare, right? Hanare really showcased something that we've always known has been inside him. We've seen glimpses of it, whether it was previous matches for KOPW, whether it was the strong openweight championship match he had with Eddie Kingston at Fighting Spirit Unleashed in Las Vegas on October 28th. And we see it again in the 6-man tag team championship. So I'm just saying, when we're talking about the Rambo, when we're talking about things to come with New Year's Dash or anything going forward in 2024, Hanare is a guy you're going to want to keep your eye on.
Yeah, that's the minimum I'm hoping for Hanare here. Get through to the final for that 4-way at New Year's Dash for the KOPW Championship. The Rambo, of course, taking place at Wrestle Kingdom 18. It's just around the corner. At the time of recording this, we're exactly 1 week away from Wrestle Kingdom. It's the merriest time of the year. And you're going to have the best seat in Tokyo Dome, Walker. As we get closer now, what's the breakdown between nerves and excitement for you now that we're just a week away? Is it leaning one way more than the other?
I don't know if I can tell the difference. You know, I think that it's an overall energy that is propelling me forward. And I think that's the best way to describe it. There's nothing negative. It's incredibly positive. So I guess you'd say it's all excitement right now. Maybe some form of nerves kicks in when I step into the Tokyo Dome for the first time, or when my plane lands, or when I walk out the door to go to the airport. But I know that either way, what I feel right now is exactly what I'm going to be feeling throughout Wrestle Kingdom. Wrestle Kingdom is probably going to maximize it tenfold. It is pure excitement for everything we're going to be getting to see coming at the Tokyo Dome event. I'm fired up for it, Ciaran.
I know, listening to your interview with the Super J-Cast guys, you a good portion dedicated to the food in Japan. Are you aware of how much food they have to offer inside the Tokyo Dome? It's quite outrageous. They have so many, like my favorite thing. One of my favorite things about going to Tokyo Dome, I'll get the chicken nuggets about 20 times. Like, you're in there all day, you got to eat, and I'll just go back and forth, chicken nuggets, nuggets. But they've got so much variety on offer. There's like 3 of everything, but it's like full meals. And I saw New Japan are even doing their own collaboration stuff. You can get a World Tag League burger and all these things. When I went Wrestle Kingdom 17, I got a Lion Juice, which was a soft drink, and they also had Lion Beer. But I'm not a big drinker.
Sure.
Are you going to get the chance to appreciate the food on offer inside the Tokyo Dome?
Man, that's a great question. I'm not sure what the schedule or what the lay of the land's really going to be like for me, with it being my first time. And, you know, I'm probably going to want to take things a little reserved, but I might be offended if there's no Lion Juice for me, the soft drink, of course, not the alcohol, at the broadcast booth is all I'm saying. So I had no idea that's a thing. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, I saw. I definitely want a Tag League burger. I can't remember what else they've got. It a bizarre choice for a burger for Wrestle Kingdom, but you know, I wouldn't turn my nose up at a New Japan burger. But yeah, like, culture shock always comes up when people talk about going to Japan. Personally, my first experience, it was more like culture delight. Like, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, it's everything that I wanted it to be, and so much more. But what have been some of your favorite things so far to discover and learn about Japan? What have been more of the this is awesome rather than that's different or strange or takes getting used to? The stuff you've just instantly fallen in love with.
I've fallen in love with the people. The people in Japan. I come from a small town in Oklahoma in the United States, and for anyone that doesn't know, small towns can be kind of hit or miss. I love the small town that I live in. I love the college that I attend. I love everything about where I live. But you know, when you go to a foreign country, which Japan was the first time I'd ever been outside of the United States, going for my first tour. So there was that nerve on top of going and making my debut on mainland soil for New Japan Pro Wrestling. You know, when you go to a country that you've never been to before, there is a worry of, oh, I hope that people like me. I hope I don't do something culturally inappropriate. I hope you know, all these fears that might go through your mind. And everyone has been so kind to me, whether it's been people on the roster, the Japanese boys have been incredibly kind, members of the New Japan World Team and staff have been incredibly kind. Even just people, you know, I'm checking out at the Family Mart in Tokyo, right outside the hotel. And I can't speak, at the time, at least when I went my first time, I couldn't speak a lick of Japanese whatsoever to say, you know, hello, goodbye, thank you, whatever. and everyone was just super kind, super accommodating. So that's something that I've absolutely loved. You heard me talk about the food on the Super J Cast, but I've been loving comparing American food with the Japanese rendition of American food, and I've liked the Japanese food much more, which is kind of fun to say. And you know, I've just had cool experiences. It's being able to walk down the street and go, we don't have that in the United States. And it's not, I'm not someone who looks at that as a negative thing. I get giddy. I get like a feeling of glee where I'm like, oh, this is an experience that I never would have had in the US. I get to have it here. It fires me up. And that's one of the things that, you know, it's one of the perks of the job. I get to call incredible professional wrestling for the best pro wrestling company in the world. And I also get to experience the life of living in Japan, you know, on a short-term basis. So I enjoy it a lot.
The absolute dream. And you've not been shy about sharing your experiences online either, like when you first got the job, how you're still learning about New Japan and Japanese wrestling. You know, you ask fans for recommendations, you ask, you know, can they clear up confusion on some historical aspects? And one thing that quickly becomes apparent through all that is your dedication. You're clearly putting in huge amounts of time, like researching, learning, making notes. You do the Twitch streams where you'll watch matches with people, and you know, you can all just have a good time and chat along. It's a very welcoming and wholesome space. But since you've got New Japan gig, how many hours of New Japan or just Japanese wrestling in general, on average, would you say you're watching in a day?
Oh man, in a day, that's hard to say, because I'll go like days without watching something and then watch stuff for like 8 hours straight. You know, because you know I'm working. I have stuff that I do you know, outside of New Japan. Of course, I work the independents, and I try and do I do video production, I do video editing as well, just as a freelance thing, because it's something I enjoy doing. It was my college major before New Japan plucked me out of my college degree, but I didn't actually end up finishing my semester until a couple of days ago. So
congratulations.
Thank you.
I hope it's congratulations.
Right. No, it went well.
Yeah.
But you know, it was a good time, and as much as I loved college, you know, New Japan Pro Wrestling, it's a lot cooler. I'm not gonna lie. I can't pretend that it doesn't fire me up more to say I work for New Japan Pro Wrestling than I'm a college student. It's more unique. But yeah, you know, there's a lot to it. The Japanese wrestling style is something that I've had to grow accustomed to, because anyone who watches Japanese wrestling and Western or American wrestling, WWE, even parts of AEW included, it's very different. It's very, very different systematically and fundamentally. And there's different points of suspension of disbelief, if that makes sense. And yeah, you know, just different structure to things. I talked about, you know, the structure with tag team wrestling being different, and why, you know, I might not love a current WWE tag match for whatever reason, and that's not to trash on WWE whatsoever. But I love, you know, what I see with 2-on-2, 3-on-3, whatever in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So that has come from watching those hours and hours of content. But yeah, I will go and watch I will watch an unhealthy amount at one time and then not watch for a minute, you know. So that's the best answer I can give you there.
So watching all these matches, like I'm sure you're going back in the history books, you're watching an Inoki main event, and then like, you know, you're watching more recent stuff like Wrestle Kingdom 17 and Ospreay versus Omega, and jumping all over the place. Have you been watching any of these matches and just thinking like, damn, what I would have loved to have been ringside to be able to call that one?
Right. Yeah, there have been a lot of them, a lot of recent ones and a lot of older ones. You know, I even look at, I know there was English commentary for them, but you know, the Okada Omega trilogy, you know, everyone talks about those. Those were actually the first New Japan matches I ever watched in my entire life. And so, you know, I would have loved to be ringside for those. But the beautiful thing about technology, Ciaran, is that there is potential that, you know, there have been talks of dubbing over old Japanese wrestling archives with English commentary. I know that it's been done in the past. So, you know, the hopes of calling an Antonio Inoki match, while I might not have been around in the 80s or 90s to do it, you know, it's still alive, and so I'm hopeful to be able to call some of those matches. I don't really have any off the top of my head where I'm like, oh, I want to call this, I want to call that, but there's just, you know, it's easier to name the athletes itself and go, that's someone I'd love my voice attached to for the rest of the time that this footage exists. You know, the guys like Antonio Inoki and so forth. So
do you ever watch the commentary with Japanese commentary on? Because obviously sometimes, you know, New Japan shows, and this is something you're making a big change of too, which I want to ask about, but sometimes, you know, not every show is with live English commentary. And if you want to watch live, you get Japanese commentary. Of course, you can't understand it, but the enthusiasm is there. It's unmatchable, the Japanese commentary. My favorite thing in the wrestling world is when Milano finds something so enjoyable that he laughs. That is the biggest mark of love and approval you can get from Milano, is if he's giddy laughing at when you do something.
Right.
Do you ever watch the Japanese commentary? Is there anything you can take away from it as a commentator?
There are some pacing things I think that you can take away, even if you're not understanding the language, which I do actually watch Japanese commentary a good amount. Sometimes I will go back. Actually, most recently I went back and watched the 2 Korakuen shows with Japanese commentary. I always go back and watch anything that I'm on just to study myself, and because it's always about improvement of the game. But yeah, you know, I actually did go back and rewatch the Korakuen shows with Japanese commentary, and I think that you can pick up some pacing things, some of the intensity things. You know, I know a lot of people feel, and I'm in the same boat as well, for a lot of things that Japanese wrestling can heighten the feeling, the aura behind a matchup, especially if you are a non-Japanese speaker, because it just feels so larger than life.
Yeah.
And I definitely think that Milano, and anyone who shares the booth with Milano, does an incredible job in that role. But yeah, you know, I think there's a lot of things to take away from Japanese commentary. And then, of course, you know, my predecessor and Kevin Kelly took a good amount from you know, the Japanese style, the Destino call that people like to talk about, and different things like that. So I think it's only a matter of time before certain things like that start to sneak into the work that I do, and I find more influence there. And I'm definitely watching for it.
You've also, like I said, you know, you're very public online, sharing about how you're growing and adapting with the product, and you've really ingrained yourself into the fan base by proxy. Like, you know, you're very responsive to people if they've got questions or just having a general chat about wrestling. You're really open. Like, I'm sure most New Japan fans, including myself, a few months ago, we didn't know who Walker Stewart was, and now this is the man that's leading charge for New Japan as part of this new generation of young lions as well. It's kind of like very great timing. But I feel like we've gotten to know you very quickly through your online presence. You're doing this media circuit as well. Was it by design to like open yourself up and be as public as possible, or has it just happened organically as you've grown more and more into the New Japan fan base?
I think it's half and half. From people that I very heavily trust and rely on that have been mentors to me, I did receive some advice both ways. Actually, I had some people telling me, you don't want these people knowing anything about you. And I had some people telling me, hey, you need to, you know, be very open and honest about everything. And I always feel that honesty is the best policy. And so that's why I didn't come into this role claiming that I knew everything there is to know about everything. In fact, I said the exact opposite. I actually kind of undersold the amount that I knew. And maybe part of that was a fear of people calling me out on, you know, well, what do you really know? You know? But, you know, I think that there is an aspect of vulnerability that, sure, it can ingrain you with people, but it is a reality of this life, whether it's me talking about, you know, the life on the road. It's never complaining. It's just giving an open view into what this new role has brought me, for any of the positive or for any of the negative. And trust me, there's a lot more of the positive than the negative for what this role has brought me in my life. But yeah, I definitely did want to be, as one of the few English voices, I feel that there is a necessity for me to have that social media presence, for me to be open and honest with fans. I did not expect coming into the role that I would be playing as almost English customer service in a sense for some things. And you know, we laugh at that and it is funny, but like I received it and I was like, wow, I didn't know this was part of the job, but I love it because it is a one-way ticket for me to not only help anyone with anything that they need, any questions that they have. I'll get messages in my DMs that I was just responding to a little bit before coming on, you know, with people asking me about, you know, statistic stuff like statistical analysis for main events, and I know some people wouldn't be willing to have those one-on-one conversations, but I think it's important we earn all of the fans that we do in New Japan Pro Wrestling, in entertainment in general, if you want to speak even broader, with those one-on-one interactions, with those connections, and it's part of the reason why I felt doing the media circuit is such an important thing. It's part of the reason that I've been very open on social media, and my DMs are open to anyone who hits them, all of the good and all of the bad, but luckily there's been a lot more good than anything. So yeah, I think that sums it up pretty well.
I think recently though, something did come to light about how you know, your way of getting into getting the job offer, you may not have passed one of the tests, according to another wrestler at least. A certain filthy Tom Lawler saying that you should have gone one-on-one with him, and then the winner of that should have been the new commentator. How did what happened there? Did you not get the memo? Did you miss the flight?
Well, what ends up happening is I don't know if Tom reached directly out to Kevin Kelly or anyone in the office, but no one from the office nor Kevin Kelly reached out to me about this. I would have been fully open to it. You know, I fight for what I believe in, and I believe that you know, there's a deservingness of the role here. I would have gone to battle for it. I don't exactly know how I would have fared. Filthy Tom Lawler is he's a filthy man, Ciaran. You don't exactly just walk into a boxing ring, a wrestling ring, anything at all with a filthy guy and not have a game plan. I would have walked in with a game plan. I don't know how successful it would have been, but yeah, that's, you know, if Tom Lawler still wants to fight me, well, you know, we're gonna have to renegotiate that in a couple of years. So
I mean, saying that with Tom Lawler saying about commentary, it's quite a common thing in New Japan where you'll get a wrestler will jump on the commentary desk during the G1, during tournaments especially. You know, if Kevin was running the commentary table by himself, he might be joined by someone. Same with Chris, and it could very well happen to yourself. Is there anyone on the New Japan roster you've got your eyes on going, I want them on the commentary desk with me?
Absolutely, and I've made it I've been very vocal about it with New Japan staff. One of those people being Robbie Eagles. I think that Robbie Eagles
was fantastic
to commentary for Power Struggle and did very, very well. He gave an analysis that Chris Charlton, as much as I love Chris and he's an incredible historian, he gave an analysis that I don't believe Chris could give as efficiently as a non in-ring talent, just the way that I could not give that same analysis. You know, Robbie Eagles with that technical description of different things. You know, well, he moved the arm here, and that's why this has more of an impact. Look at the torque here, different aspects. It reminded me a lot of, and I'm a big fan of this guy, so this is 100% a compliment on my end, but reminded me a little bit of Matt Striker, where Matt Striker, he's a voice that I grew up on in WWE, 21 years old right now. So you can imagine what era of professional wrestling I grew up on the mainstream in the United States. But Matt Striker would have those very descriptive lines in his commentary as a former wrestler himself about, you know, why things hurt, why things feel the way they do, how people need to go about counteracting different moves. And Robbie Eagles, I felt a lot of that in him. So anytime I can get Eagles in the booth, I would love to. I've heard bits of Shane Haste English commentary.
That one, not so not so much analysis when it comes to Shane Haste.
Sure, yeah, Shane Haste. It's I wouldn't call it analysis. But I think that I work very well with people that have incredibly large personalities. It's hard to find larger personalities on the New Japan roster outside of Shane Haste. God only knows what an English commentary booth with Gabe Kidd would be like. I think get a word in on him.
Yeah, I think it would just be constant bleeps with Gabe Kidd on commentary.
Yeah. Maybe we should kibosh that idea. But yeah, I'd love to get Zack Sabre Jr. in the booth if at all possible. If you've heard throughout the post-production that's been done on World Tag League, anytime a Japanese wrestler gets on the Japanese commentary booth, I always say I want them on the English side as well. So if we end up getting Yano in an English booth, we're gonna I can't promise you it'll be analytical, but it'll be a moment that people will remember.
I can only and that was hopefully our last interview. Hopefully that came off. Hopefully timing's worked out. Hopefully I actually spoke to Walker Stewart. I haven't hyped up for nothing. But before we go, there is, look, the day after Wrestle Kingdom, you get New Year's Dash. It is the January 5th show. sometimes stuff happens, sometimes doesn't. It is very hit and miss. We got 3 years of a lot of excitement. Kenny Omega exiling AJ Styles, Suzuki-gun returning from Noah, you know, John Moxley showing up unannounced to attack Minoru Suzuki in 2020. In 2023, Jay White and Hikuleo to a loser leaves Japan match. Look, it's something. New Japan tend to make something happen if they can. Of course, Kenny Omega showing up to team up with Kazuchika Okada, the absolute dream team of everyone's wildest dreams. Trent, give me one wild idea you would love to see happen at New Year's Dash.
I would like to see Bryan Danielson come out and challenge Tetsuya Naito. Yeah, we get Okada Danielson. We get Okada Danielson. Tony Khan, you're busy. You got a lot of toys in the chest. Let us have the American Dragon for a little bit longer. Let us do Naito Danielson.
The good thing is as well, the Naito would have to win that match. So I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
And make it like a blindfold match because they're both struggling with their eyes right now.
Oh Jesus Christ, man! Yeah, they got two good working eyes between 4 men there. I would like to see. I would love to see Danielson show up at Ota Ward. It would be very unexpected. Hopefully, he's still in the country.
Not in Ota Ward. If he shows up in Ota Ward, it's all.
Oh
awkward.
shit! It's in Tokyo,
Sumida City.
Yeah. I'm so used to it being in Ota Ward, man. But yeah, I'd love to see Danielson show up. Hopefully, he's still in the country, you know, and he can just get a flight after it. He can be early on the card, whatever. Look, I would like, and hopefully we get John Moxley show up. I want to get an indication of what Will Ospreay is going to be doing in his final hurrah. This is going to be his swan song now. If he goes into New Year's Dash as the champion or not. New Year's Dash 2023, we set up a feud with Taichi and just 5 guys, and that Taichi match was fucking great. I want something so we can really get going with Will Ospreay here. I don't know who. There's no one that springs to mind. But
who would you like to see? Like, ignore like the who should be, but who would you like?
I don't know. That's the thing. I think that the problem here is what is his future for the United Empire. I think a story needs to be told. Whether someone new shows up, like maybe Will Ospreay is the only one that doesn't find success within the United Empire over this weekend. Perhaps the United Empire do well in the Rambo. Perhaps Katsutu win the titles and Ospreay kind of flutters out, and it's someone else comes in, because I think someone else has to come into. If United Empire continue, they need a new face. I don't think the face exists within the faction. I don't know who that person is, but maybe that is the excitement. Someone comes in, but Ospreay still got a month left. What does he do for that next month without the United Empire? I just want some kind of indication, something cool, big, exciting for Ospreay. Like, I don't want a Kenny Omega situation where he just disappears one day.
Yeah. It'll be interesting because, like, the good thing with New Beginnings is it's not a one-show event. You know, New Beginnings goes over, like, there's 3 big shows. There's back-to-back nights in Hokkaido. So what I like is you can do, like, a farewell United Empire tag match, and then you can do, like, a singles match, kind of a proper farewell facing someone that he's close with. Personally, I would like it to be Okada, because Okada's kind of the guy that brought him under the wing initially through Chaos. That would be a nice goodbye opportunity. Obviously, it'd be a banger match. But that's kind of what I'm envisioning, maybe like a goodbye tag match and a singles match with someone he's particularly close with from the New Japan roster.
Yeah, New Year's Dash the day after. Of course, Wrestle Kingdom will be live on NJPWWorld.com January 4th. It's going to be a big extravaganza. There's a lot of matches. The card, the card has its ups and downs on the way here. There hasn't been a lot of hype, but as it gets closer, talking with Trent here now, I'm certainly pumped for it. I'm certainly excited for it.
Are you buying tickets? Are you flying over?
I'm not that excited for it. I'm not flying over on 12 hours notice again like I did for Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay. Never again.
You got time for 18 hours at the moment. You'll be good.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, no, that's going to do it for our Wrestle Kingdom 18 preview. Hope you enjoyed it. Please check out Wrestle In if you haven't before. Lots of content, especially lots of Japan Stardom, Choco Pro, TJPW, New Japan, Noah, everything. We interviews with Marufuji ahead of his match with Kota Ibushi. There's a lot going on. We'll try our best to provide unique content. Check it out. Thank you for watching this Wrestle Kingdom 18 preview. Follow Trent on Twitter at OneUpCulture. Give me a follow if you like at CiaranRH93. Most importantly, follow at Wrestle In. We are Wrestle In. That was our Wrestle Kingdom 18 preview, and now we're out.